Good morning, everyone, and here we are once again working on the program, getting 3D internet up and going. Lately, I've been working on setting up a plugin, and this particular plugin works with multiplayer. So today, I'm taking it to the next level, which is to actually test out some multiplayer functionality and working with loading the customizations that you've done on your avatar. For example, if you selected any animations or if you've changed the colors and stuff, then I need to trigger that and update it on the other people's screens. So to date, what we have running is we have multiplayer in action, so it does work, and it's working from your own machine using your own tables and everything else. And basically it's going to be loading it. We have to tell it, the system, that when you log on and you go multiplayer, that right now I tell it, hey, which avatar am I using and a few other settings, but I'm not passing on the information of what colors I selected and what animations. So I have to trigger that information, get it to the source in those tables, so that when others log on there, it reads from those tables the information that you're actually sharing, which is the colors and animations. So let's start there and see if we can't pass some information back to the system and write it into the correct places and work it from there. So jumping right in, we're going to go to the code page and see what we can do. Okay, so let me give you a little demo. Let's see where we are right now. Okay, and Abdul Coder, good morning. I missed a Sunday and a Monday, but I streamed on Saturday, and yeah, it's just been a little hit or miss the past 2 days. I had a bunch of stuff I had to do outside of here. But I'm back, and yeah, we're going to jump right in here and get some stuff done. Also, I didn't get an email from you. I think you were going to drop me an email. So hopefully, yeah, I don't know why, but I checked spam, I checked the folder and everything else. Go ahead and send it to me at adishno@walktheweb.com, and we'll see if I can see that web page that you sent. Okay, so moving forward here, what I have so far is, notice I have on my screen there we go. Okay, so on my screen, basically my avatar, we already know how my avatar can work. Well, what I've done is I've set up another computer off to the side, so basically if I reach over, I can make this guy walk, and notice he's doing his walk, and he can go backwards, and I can turn and do all kinds of fun stuff with him. But what I didn't do was set up any type of colors or anything like that. So, yeah, let me see. First thing, it would help if I actually go down here on the other computer and pick a different color so that we'll know when he's loaded. I'm going to this one only has two colors, so I'm just going to pick something real quick just so that we get some type of feedback knowing that he's loaded in color. I'm going to go with, he's going to have a really bright green body, and the joints are going to be pink just because it's opposite and bright. Okay, so we're going to know when his colors are loaded. Okay, so let's see if we can't track that and pass the information and get the whole thing set. The first thing I want to do is, when I'm running this process, what I do is the second they log in, it actually writes back to the system and it tells it right here. Actually, it is right here. And it's telling us what it came from. So we know which avatar they used, which index that avatar is, and basically their instance, the IP it browsed from. But it creates a user avatar ID here, and that's the one we're tracking. So, and then it has some basic information like the scale of that particular avatar. If there's a name passed on with it, it'll do it. Okay. And if they're logged in or not, we know that information. Okay, so we know this is an avatar. It's anonymous because there's no user ID, and they picked the male one opposed to the female one. And that's the initial settings that it loads with, and it goes. Okay, so, but over here under colors, we haven't collected any colors from them when they logged on. The process that it runs is we are calling it from this multiplayer piece here, we're sending it over and saying update my avatar, which is this file. And when it gets here, it passes some information and it's writing it into the system, basic information of what you have selected. Now from there, what I need to do is once I've written that information in is instead of just stopping there, it would be better to actually make a call back to the other server, read in, make a call about the avatar, get the data that we need, and then read in the customizations that they've done on that particular avatar. So starting with the colors, well, first thing we got to do is we have to call the other server back. So it sent this to this server, which even though it's on the same server, I'm trying to isolate the process so it's not part of the core process, so that it can easily be moved to another server if you choose. That's the whole reason for kind of doing it the way I am. I don't want to just pass a bunch of things behind the scenes, because right now I could just go, hey, we're in the same table, go over to this table, grab the colors and grab the animations and then bring them back. I want to make this a standalone process that you can actually separate it out and run it as a separate multiplayer server at some point in time. So it's a good idea to set up the process to be independent of your other tables as if it was isolated on a different server. Okay, so with knowing that, and let's see, we have, okay, so at this particular point, what I want to do is I want to make a call to the other server. Now, I know that I've already written something like this someplace. In fact, I believe I did it for sharing buildings. So let's see, did I do it here? No, I didn't. I'm just double checking to see if I've already written anything like this, because of course when I've already written something like this and I can use it again, then basically I am one step closer than having to write it from scratch. So, oh, wrong site, that's why. It's not in that site, it is in, no, wait a minute, think about that. It is in that site. It's in a different table, but it would be, is it upload? I know I've done something like this. Let me just take a couple seconds and find it here. No, those ones didn't do it. And if I didn't, no big deal. We'll go ahead and run it ourselves and create one anyway. That does that there. You know what? I think I did do it in update plugin process. So let's go there. Let's look at how we did the code for update plugins, and that'll tell us exactly what we want to do for this piece. Plugin update. Yeah, right. Okay. It would be in the plugin loader. And here's where I did. Okay, so I gave it this. That's particularly copying a file, so I didn't do anything once I get the file. But, well, when all else fails, let's see what the best way to do it is. HP get. Okay, how do I extract JSON data from JSON from PHP? Did they do the call? No, they haven't done the call. We know how to do that second part. Get JSON object from URL. Get contents. Yeah, see, it is the get contents. Okay, so then once I get it, then all I have to do is, yeah, okay. It's pretty straightforward. It was just like what I did in this file loader right here. Okay, so based on what they have, if they have this functionality or if they have this functionality, we can get the information here, and then once we get it, we can work with it. Get contents, that would be this, and in this case, you know what, I'm going to start with just this version because Yeah, we'll add the other one afterwards. But what I want to do is put that here. Multiplayer tracking. Oops, there it is. Update page. And I'm going to start with this functionality. And what I'm going to do is the update URL. So this particular one, what I need to do is I need to format and call the get avatar, the avatars function on there, because this particular one I send an instance see, I'm not even encrypting those particular ones. Okay, user ID, user IP. I want to, let me check this for real quick. File name clipboard. A lot of these I did B to A on the actual call to make sure that when I did the call from within my site, I was doing it using, see, that's iframes, that's not it. Iframes connect. Here's a call to it. And what happens is here is I did not do B to A, so I'm not doing a base 64 encryption, but whenever I send the user ID, I like to do it. So I did it on the other ones already, so we're going to go ahead and update this one too, so that we basically are encoding what's coming across. B2A set these up as base 64 encoded. They're not encrypted, but they're encoded. B2A. And then, so that passes, basically I'm passing 3 values there. And I don't think I used any other place. Nope, that looks like that's the only place I called it from. So this is our call to JSON. We're going to, well, we'll get that in a second. Yeah, it's very straightforward. ID, okay. So in here, now because we encoded that end of it, when we receive it back, we want to decode it. So base 64, decode, and wrap that around each one of these. It's only 3 values. I just like not passing user IDs and stuff like that as plain text. Keeps the amateurs out of the place. Okay, so now we get these values in, and we're getting the correct values. So from here, well, that one, okay, so that one comes in here, and it grabs these values, and then it's going to return the actual whole thing here. This gives us the whole ball of wax of all of our animations and all of our color settings. Right here, it's bringing up the color settings. Then here, it's bringing up the different animations, packaging it all into one, and then sending it back. So this is exactly what we're looking for to get from here. The avatar URL equals, and it will be it'll be WTW underscore domain URL, because that gets us the base URL of this site. And then we have connect slash avatar.php, and then we're going to pass a couple different values. I is basically this instance, but instead we're going to be encoding it this time because we need to do base 64 back on that. So we'll 64 encode, and that's our instance. Now we need the user ID, which I believe from, where did we find that? Right there. It is a letter D, and then it's going to be the user ID. So, and D equals, and then we grab the user ID here, which is this, which could be blank. So depends on what they actually send us to here. And where was I working? Here it is. dot user ID, and we're once again going to put the 64 encoding around it. I know, decode, encode, back and forth. And then we have one more value that we're going to pass after this, which we have back to this line, and it is going to be the letter P represents the user IP address. I'm going to bounce back the one that it came from in the first place. So I'm not doing anything special with this. I'm just basically giving them back the user IP address that came with this package. So P equals, and then just the IP, I already think. Yep, there it is. And it's passing back. Oh, that's funny. I used an A here, but I used a P. Okay, that's all fine. Don't judge. No, just kidding. Okay, we have this, and we're going to once again encode that. Okay, so this is the call that we're going to make, and basically I want to see, this is the response that we're going to get back from it. So we'll put that in there, and I don't need to do this put file contents because that has to do with where to write it on the drive, and I'm not writing it to the drive. I'm actually getting this back here, avatar data, and just to do it, I'm going to, for now, instead of spitting out this response, I'm going to spit out this response. So take this here, copy that, we'll put it here, equals array, the gang's all here, no. Okay, and then one more thing we're going to do is we're going to take this and set it equal to JSON encode, so that we get the response the way we're expecting. Actually, we got JSON encode there. Sorry, did need to do it twice. We get the contents, and JSON encode will break it down the proper thing. Now, when we call this particular thing, we should be getting back this data of that item just to check to see that we're getting what we think we did at that point in time. So I'm going to make a call on update avatar. That's get avatar. So let's do, I'm not going to be able to guess at what this information is supposed to be sending, and there's too much of it to do. So what we're going to do is when we call update avatar on our command here, when we call it here and we call the update avatar, I've already formatted the URL that I need to call, so I'm going to take this and just kick it out on the log. That way we don't have to type it again. Or we can, you know, we don't have to worry about all this B to A stuff going base 64. Okay, so that'll kick it out in our column, so let's do that call and see what we're actually getting. We should be getting it right here, and this one tells it to, okay, so we're going to do that, and now I'm going to try it here, and we're not getting anything on the page, which, okay, I expected a little feedback on that. Okay, let's first, the first thing I want to do is I want to see what the URL is that I'm calling and see if it actually brings back data. So I think this value is incorrect is what I'm getting. Oh, you know what? It should actually be this page being called from connect. So it'd be W2W connect. It should actually be that way, domain URL. Let's try that and see if we're getting something before I go into too much stuff here. No, that didn't like that either. Okay, I have a feeling this is still what's causing the problem. We're using that everywhere, so we know we have that piece, but domain URL should have had a value. Let's see. Let's see if we can kick back this value. I just want to see if we get something back on this point. And it's taking a long time to think, which is interesting. Come on, wake up, computer. Okay, let's see what else is going on here. No, I don't see any actual errors showing up there. So we didn't get any fatal errors that we weren't trapping. Let's see if we got any fatal errors that we are trapping. Okay, get file contents. Well, there's our URL. That's good. Request failed. Okay, let's check this. The good news is right here we actually have the function that we need to call right here. So we will get this piece all the way to there. Copy that, bring it over here, and okay. 404 error, page not found. Okay, let's go find out why our page was not found, because, and there's another little thing. It actually converted this and this to ampersand instead of staying as a query string part. Okay, so page 404, avatar PHP and connect. Let's go see what's going on there. In our site, we have avatars. Ah, that would do it. Avatars. And now, try it here. Avatars. And we get data back. That's a good sign. So let's jump a little farther into here. The next piece was, oh, wait a minute. What did I tell it to spit back? Okay, that's getting the avatars. So that has an item in it now. And if I say get avatar data, and we change this to avatar data, now it should spit back what we received back. I'm just doing this as a test to see that we're, oh, guess what? It gave us the URL. That part worked. Okay, so now we're getting the data back from there, and notice there's these color items right here. Those are the couple color items that we set. So now I have some colors set on this custom avatar. It's showing me what is set, and we now have something that we can put into the database and see from the other machines. So next thing I want to do is we need to look at the functions of this. Okay, from here we have the avatar data. So now I have to do some things with it. First thing we're going to do is, well, we're going to save the response back as this for now, just because we don't necessarily need that response to be showing. I just wanted to make sure that we were getting some type of avatar data back. So this will be avatar data equals, and JSON encode, and then this avatar data again. And so now we have what should be an object model that we can work with. The next piece is, let's check to see if we have values as this section of our function. So let's go into here. We need to see avatars. Okay, what I should have is avatar parts should come through, And then from those avatar parts, so the first thing we need to look to see is if avatar parts is returned with the function. We're going to walk our way through this. Update avatar. So here, the first if. Okay, so it's avatar data. Avatar data. I think. Okay, I think that's the way I need to do it. And I need to check if this exists. So copy is set. That should, whoops. Oh, I didn't mean to copy paste again. And not empty. That will give us some type of reply that it's getting this far. And let's see. That's either going to give me an error or it's going to do something. So let's see if it gets this far. And I want to say, let's test something. Let's see if we're getting this far. It's an easy test to do. All we have to do is say avatar parts right here. And I'm just going to like walk its way through here just so we can see we're getting what we want at certain levels. And that one is going to be these avatar parts. I mean, like the other notation instead of the arrow notation. That's all fine and dandy if that's what it wants. We'll figure that out in a second. And right now I want to return just the avatar parts. So if I come back to here and I reset this page, let's find out. Did it change? No, it came back empty set. Let's try, instead of using this notation, let's do this notation, which sometimes it just prefers. One of these days somebody's going to explain to me which one I should be using and where. But until then, I guess it's trial and error for me. Okay, so if I do it this way, and we reset that, no, we're still not getting anything. Okay, so that's coming up as avatars are coming up blank. Oh, wait. I assigned it something that is using the same notation. Okay, let's see if that gives us what we want. No, we still don't have it. Let me see if it's this that's killing it or if we have a different problem. So that gave us an error altogether. Okay, what's our error? Illegal string offset avatar parts. I think it's okay. We'll get together. We'll get to those requests. Let me get through this multiplayer stuff because it's not going to mean a lot if we can't get to this multiplayer stuff. So, you want to see somebody wearing a top hat? We got to get the pieces in place here. But I can do a 3D model of a top hat, and I also know another web page that you can find things for free. So, I will see what I can do about sending you that link. Let me see what I can do here. Avatar 3D models. Just checking here. We have tools. I threw it in with all my other links, and I've got about 100 links here, so Okay, so yeah, there's some different places. I don't know where I put the link for it right now, so I'll find it later on. But there's a link where we can go and we can get some different 3D model stuff that's available. Some of it's all royalty free. Other things you can pay short amount of dollars for something, and you can find all kinds of cool stuff. So we'll get to that area and we'll see what we can do about that at that time. But for now, stay with me. Stay with me. Focus, focus. I'm trying to focus here this morning and not get sidetracked, but no worries. Okay, so multiplayer, we're getting this piece in place, and what I'm doing is I've received this JSON data back and I've actually spit it out on the screen, so I know I'm getting that. But what's happening is when I try to bring back this piece, it's giving me a legal string offset. Is it the parts? Oh, the parts are part of a function. Let me just see here. I think I know what it is. The parts are under an index, so I should be like index 1 or 0, 1, 2, 3 to get to those pieces. Let me look at this here one more time. Okay, what I'm getting here... Oh, I know what I did. I brought back this and then I encoded it twice, so let's remark that out for a minute. Okay, so, well, it didn't update. Come on. Yeah, okay, I'm not going to worry about that so much just yet. But we have avatar and we have multiple records here. So what's happening is basically, even though we have this piece, this should be for each avatar data. Is it bringing back multiple data items? Wait a minute. Let me see. Actually, that should not be bringing back because I'm bringing back one array of this. Oh, it's under avatar. That's why. That's what I'm missing. Okay, I missed the first index, which is avatar. Then I have the second one. Okay, so it's not for each at this point. All I have to do is get the right layering in place here, and it works just fine. So let's put this back to this, just so that we can spit out the parts when I get them. And it's not that, it is actually here, which is avatar. Is it avatar singular or plural? Let me double check that one more time. It is avatar singular, because I'm bringing back one avatar. My microphone's picking up your voices. Thank you. Sorry. Just thought you'd like to know. Okay, so moving here. Okay. Okay, so avatar parts coming through there. Let's see if that actually grabs them now. That would be better. Oh, actually, it's this page still. And no, we're not getting them. Hold on. Let's see if it likes this notation again. I should be getting the different pieces here in place, but is it going to be that way or that way? Let me back that up. There's two different notations, and I don't know which one I'm supposed to be using, but I'm going to test out this right here. First, I want to see, does it get anything if I just spit that on the page? And no, we're getting blank, and we're getting the error offset, illegal string offset avatar. So it doesn't like this notation, but what about this notation? Is this the one I'm supposed to be using? And let's see if that gets what we need. And it doesn't like that either. Okay, what's going on here? Illegal string offset avatar. Okay. The avatar data. See, I have this function here. The avatar is just a straight array, and it should be, response should be avatar and then its values. Let's walk down one step at a time. Let's see where we're getting, because something's happening here. We're getting something back from there. We're just working our way through. And, okay, so let me get back to my page. Where's my page? There it is. It's this one. Okay, so let me see if I can get, let's take that piece off. Let's see what this does. I don't think it's going to like this already, but let's find out. Walk it through one layer at a time. Okay, let's go back to, we're going to go to this notation and see if it grabs the avatar and then see if it encodes it and drops it back out there that way. Okay, that doesn't like that. Okay, wait a minute. Let's try taking that out of there, seeing what it does at this level. Nah, I didn't think it'd like that either. Okay, now I'm just guessing. What's going on? Illegal offset, trying to set property of non-object. You know what? Let's just... I think I'm killing it with this piece. Okay. I think I'm killing it trying to set this. Let me do this here. Let's see if we can encode that layer and see what happens. I'm just trying to get down to the list of different pieces here. Okay, so that one is still giving me an issue. Let me see, legal string offset. Okay, let's look at that up. I'm going to figure out what that means. And I'm sure it's in my notation of how I'm trying to pull that value, but let's figure this out. Okay, Stack Overflow, PHP, this, and we're getting that. And let's see what other people did to get that same thing. Input type equals an attack. Okay. Code is valid, but expects the function parameter inputs to be an array. The illegal string offset. Warning, when inputs type means that the function is being passed string instead of an array. Okay, so... Wait a minute. And I believe just I'll make sure they know that I'm doing that in PHP. And I believe it's just, oh, that's exploding. We're not doing that. I think it should be the JSON parse. I'm not trying to do exactly that. Yeah, I know. What I need to do is right here. If we take this value here and then do this, it should... let me... You know what? Let's not JSON encode something that we've already JSON encoded. That's probably not a great idea. So let's just say echo this here. And let's see if we're getting something on our page like we would expect. No. And illegal string offset. Okay, so it doesn't like this out of this. So the JSON encode, which normally get file contents, we know that's a string. Convert string to object. Yeah, it should just be JSON encode. I got the information. It comes through as that. What? Yeah, we should be able to just JSON decode. JSON decode. I'm encoding. I don't need to encode. I need to decode. Okay, sorry about that. Here we go. Encode. Now we do. Oops. We need to decode. I just even said it and typed the other one. JSON decode. Now that I've got JSON decode data, now let's see if. Okay, so this is just this information, avatar data. I think I'm getting somewhere now. And if let's just test that for a minute. Okay, a 500 error. Can't encode something that's okay. Let's just get through this here. Okay. Let me block that off. Let's JSON decode should give us an array here, and I want to see if I do this. Now, I'm trying to spit something back out on the screen just to show that we have this piece coming through. So if I go to there. So welcome on board. If you're just joining me, hello and welcome. I'm setting up some multiplayer stuff, and the first thing we do have is we have multiplayer working. What we want to do now is make sure that we're passing on the different customizations they've done to their avatar. If they've created different colors and set those, or if they've added different animations and things, I want to preload those. So what I'm doing is when they log on to something that's multiplayer, it sends a pass over to the piece to the back end so that it knows what they're doing. And now I'm attaching with it the different pieces that go the different color schemes and things like that that they're running with it. So let me see here. What's this page going to do? Is it not going to like me, or is it actually going to preload? And I got a 500 error, so something isn't okay. Oh, cannot use type of class and array. Okay, so we are getting someplace here because I think it's now expecting this type notation, which is what I originally started to do before I messed it up. So let's try that and see, are we getting someplace? Yes. Okay. One step closer. Okay, so now we got the right command here. I missed the JSON decode. That was totally my fault, and now that I have that, now I should be able to do, let's cut this down to avatar parts, and let's see if we can, let's see, that didn't update. Let's try it again. Okay, under avatar we have just those parts, so let's see if that gets us to where we expect it to be. I'm going to see if we can do this piece here. Just making sure that we don't have an empty object coming in there, which in this case isn't an empty object, so we should be good. Let's see if that does like I expect it to. Okay, there we go. Now we're doing some. Now we have the three items that I wanted, which is an array of the colors. So Okay, we've trimmed it down to what I expected. Oh, come on. I know when I bounce back and forth too fast, sometimes this thing goes, oh, remote desktop, we lost our connection. Just takes a second and it'll come back. Tells me maybe you should sip your coffee now. Okay, so, and we're going to refresh this other one. I have two computers, so I'm leaning over and I'm actually refreshing the animation on the other screen, reloading it, just make sure we're good and ready to go here. And I've got this other character, and I have some colors with them and stuff like that. So, okay, so now avatar parts came through, and we have multiple parts. So from here, I'm going to iterate through that cycle, and we're going to write into the database so that they can be returned with the avatar when somebody gets an avatar from the multiplayer system. That's what it's going to do. So we're going to check to see that we're actually getting these values and we're writing them to the table. Okay, so from here, what I want to do is for each avatar parts as avatar part. And for each one of these, we need to now decipher what we have here, which is going to be avatar parts. Okay, let's look at the table because that's going to tell us our fields that we're looking for. There's not a lot of columns, but there are a couple. We have the part ID. Are we passing the part ID? Let's look. We have the part ID, the part, and then the three colors. Okay, let's see. Is that all we need from the database? Part ID, user and user avatar ID and instance. We have those outside of here, so we do already have that information. And then in this file, no less, and then we have avatar part and the three colors. Okay, so we need to do an update, but we need to see if that part ID already exists because we're not going to throw in a whole bunch more colors and do inserts if they already have it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to read the part ID and see if it already exists in our table. That should do it. I know Z avatar part. Oh, there it is. ID equals, and that's going to be our avatar part, and it will be avatar part ID. Once we have that, we should have a value. So if we're going to make sure that this value actually is read in, if is not empty. Because if it's empty, we didn't get something, they don't have a part, it didn't read anything, and it doesn't matter, we don't have anything to upload. So, and is set. And now that's where we're going to put all of our code. And the first thing we're going to do is, we already have Z response over here. I don't think we're using that. Well, we have response, but I mean, we have results. And it's not being used down here, so we can use results again. It's fine. What I'm going to do is we're going to do something that looks exactly like this. And we'll put that there. And the query that we actually want to do is going to be looking in this table here. We're going to look for avatar part ID. And it's going to be user avatars, let's see, user avatar colors. And I know I'm like just a fraction of seeing that whole name. Okay, so user avatar colors, that gets that table. And then this is going to be our instance. So if they're a different instance, it's not us, so we aren't going to be grabbing it. So we're going to make sure it has the same instance and user ID format that we're currently using. I don't care if user ID is blank, that means you came in anonymously. But those two value combination is what is finding the particular value. So I'm going to use those two to combine it, and then I'm going to say avatar part ID equals, and then we're going to give it the part ID that we think it should be, which is this one. And okay, so I don't need that order by clause. There should only be one in there, and it'll give an error if it isn't. These are 16-digit alphanumerics, so that's billions of possible combinations. It's okay to have everybody with a unique one. It won't conflict. The probability of confliction isn't worth the effort to write it different at this point in time. Okay, so we're gonna do something I like to do. Z found avatar part ID equals blank, and we're just gonna confirm that we found it or not using that value. And so we'll put that there, and we're going to return this value here. And now, if this found ID is empty or null, we know what to do with it. Or is not empty and is set. That means we didn't get a null value. And now for there, we're going to do two different things, one of two different things. We're going to insert them or update them. If we found it, then we're going to do an update, and that will be update. So we're going to do basically this function here, and it will be update this table, set, and here we go with the colors, because that's the only thing we're actually really passing in. Well, we have the part and the colors. I want to make sure we're in matching of what that is. So in this case, it's avatar part equals, and then we'll get the value here in a minute. And then we have emissive color R equals, and that's going to be a number. We'll get that in place here in a second. And there's three colors, so I'm just going to pass those in there. R, G, B. Then we want to know update date. We want to know how recent it is. So if you're ever a webmaster and you're cleaning up things in there, good deal, good deal, good deal. Okay, update date equals now. So you know if something's been stagnant for a year or if it's something that's being used currently, the update dates are very useful to that. Update user ID, I always do at the same time, and we'll decide which one we need for that. And then we have where, and it's going to be the same where clause that we did here. So we know we're updating the exact same item that we either found or didn't find. The other piece I like adding onto here is we are going to say deleted equals 0. We're going to also say deleted date. Oops, sorry. Delete equals null, and user ID equals blank. The reason for doing that is because if we found this item and it was already deleted, we just revived it, and now it's going to be in use again. So we set the flag for that automatically. Okay, so now we can do the user ID. Notice it's not the user ID we are looking for, it's the user ID that called it, which should be the user that originated it. So this should be the user ID we're looking at here. This particular one, it should be this. And in fact, it should be here too, because we are not looking for, the one who updates it is the one who is using that current icon. So the user ID should be in sync with the user that connected to it. opposed to some of the other things where we're getting a user ID could be somebody else's user. Okay. No worry, we'll get back to that, Abdul. Yeah, no worries. Okay, so we did the update. That will give us the colors. Okay, we need to set the color IDs here. The colors themselves are going to be basically, if I do this, and we put in here the submissive color because that's what we're calling them. Note, it's exactly what's right here. Emissive color R, G, and B. And so let's put those in here. Need the quotes with it. Okay, G and B. And then we also have, we're putting in this value, which is avatar part. That'll be the name of the part. So whatever the avatar was designed with in Blender, then basically the name of the part, if it happens to be the top, which is the shirt or the hat or whatever. Okay, so that puts in these values and does that. Now I need to do an insert statement if it didn't already exist, which is going to be the case for us on this first round. So let's do this and insert into. We're going to need the same name of the table with the prefix, obviously. And then we're going to put its values. In this case, I know I like lining these up this way. Okay, so it's going to be avatar, TAR, part ID. I know sometimes trying to talk and spell at the same time doesn't work well. Okay, so avatar part ID, user ID. We're making sure we get the whole gamut in here. User avatar ID. And instance ID. Avatar part. Emissive color red, and we're just going to do copy for green and blue, and then we have create date. Yeah, I know I just put a period instead of comma. Missed it by one. I changed keyboards not too long ago and it's been killing me ever since. Create user ID, and then we have update date, user ID, and then we have deleted will by default automatically go to 0, so we don't have to worry about a deleted one. If it wasn't found, there isn't anything to be deleted. So from here we have values, and then I'm going to copy and paste this so we get the right number of keys and put them all in the right order. Appreciate the gesture. Appreciate the gesture. Believe me, I appreciate the gesture. Okay, so first of all, update date we already know is going to be now. Create date is going to be now. And now we're dealing with the colors. Let's get this information in here. And that's going to be here, here, and here. We have R and G and B. And avatar part, we can just copy and paste that from here. We're collecting all the pieces that we need. Goes there. And then we have the user ID, which is this one. And we're going to drop that in here, here, and here. And now that leaves us with instance ID, which is this. Like I said, we got all the values handy. They're all here. We just need to grab the different pieces. We'll create a part ID in a second. User avatar ID, we want to find this one, which is up here. Notice it was set here, and we know what it is right there. So no matter what, by here we already have a user ID, or an avatar ID, so we know which avatar we're working with. Now finally the part ID. This one we need to create. So just before we run this piece here, we're going to go z part ID equals WTW connect. We already wrote a function for this in a previous session, so now all I have to do is use this, and we have get string, random string, sorry. Get random string, and that is going to be a 16-digit type 1. Okay, so that gives us our part ID. Now we'll write that into our query here, and we need just like that. Now, if I run this code and basically refresh my site, which is right here, when I do this, if all's well, then I should be updating the section in there. It loads my avatar. Come on, load the animations. I need to make sure that the other users don't start until after my animation's loaded. I want to make sure that they're not overlapping their timing, because otherwise it slows down my avatar loading. When basically I'm loading other people in your scene, you could already be moving and animated and everything else. So there's a little thing I need to do to make sure that that is happening in that order. But we'll see. I think I have most of that set, but we'll have to see. I may have triggered it more than once. Okay, and what I'm doing is checking the database. We did not have any colors already in the database, and we still don't. Okay, so something didn't work right there. Let's find out what's going on. You're back. Okay, so let's check a couple values here and see that we tripped across the parts we expected at this point in time. That avatar ID will be blank, but I'm going to do, actually I have a feeling it's not this way because of the, it wouldn't be this notation because of the way I did the for each. I have a feeling that it's gonna want this notation now. See, that's why I haven't gotten used to that part yet, but I know I should. In fact, before I do some other troubleshooting method, let's go ahead and fix that. That one's okay. These are okay. And okay, let's see if that works. I think I may have just messed up that one spot, and if that's the case, when I log on and hit multi-user like I'm doing, okay, and I got an error on that page. Let's see what the error is. It didn't like this update process, so I'm guessing I messed that up and it didn't do this. Let me see. Bump it up. So that's that. Where am I looking? Did I just do this in the wrong place altogether? Okay, avatar parts, avatar part, and then, oh, I called it 0, and there is no 0 in this area because I called it avatar part for each piece that you're doing. So where this happens here, I'm looking in here, and that is okay for that part, but it is not this part, so it's this. That would make sense. These are the pieces that we pulled from the record set, not the... It's not from the database, it's from the other piece. So let's try that and see, did that do what I expected? And are we getting someplace? No, we have a 500 error on that, which if I look under here, it's going to tell me exactly what it is, and it'll tell me what line and everything. Let's see. cannot use object of type. Oh, here we go again. Center class as array in plugins, and the line number that it doesn't like is 144. 144. I screwed up right there. Okay, it did not like this notation, and we're back to this notation. So it was the 0 part that I messed up on, so I should be able to... Every place I use this now, I have to use this notation. I'll get there, I'll get there, I'll get there. You know, that's why whenever I find something and I make it work and everything else, I like to use the, I like to copy and paste code that I've already used, because I've already worked out anything like this reference thing that I'm screwing up right now. It saves a lot of time to not screw it up and then come back and fix it numerous times. And so there we go with this. And let's give that a try, see if that treats it better. And okay, we're not getting a 500 error. That's a good sign. And finally, it finishes loading. Come on, finish loading. And we should see avatar colors here. Yes, we do. We have colors. And I want to make sure, because we just loaded multiple things, it did not find what it was supposed to, because, let's see, bottoms, tops, I can see right here that it loaded the bottoms category twice, the tops category twice, there's a hats loaded twice, oh, it loaded 3 times, everything loaded 3 times. So we have a problem, and we're going to fix that before we go any farther, because we should have only had 3. Well, it ran this process more than once. Okay, what I'm looking for is when I say found ID, the part ID that came back with it is right here. So we should have 3. It should be clean with this part ID right here. If I use that and check the database, that should have been good. So let me check. Bottoms is 29M. Bottoms, we did not use that part ID on any of them. Oh, there was my mistake. I know what I messed up. Okay, we didn't find the part ID because we didn't use the part ID that we said we have right here. I don't need to invent a new part ID because these already have a part ID. So if I just let it be whatever's there and not set a new one, we're in the correct format now. So let's delete these records out of the table. Come on. And yeah, because I want to use the same part ID that they already had. There's no reason for me to reassign them. It's already correct and it's already unique. So, and there won't be 2 of them coming from your tables anyway, because they wouldn't have written to the table in the first place. So the other part is I've already struggled through a ton of these pieces, so let's get rid of what's in this table and delete those rows and apply that. So now our error table is down to 1 of them. Okay, we'll get to that in a second. Objective class array in plugins, multiplayer, connect, multiplayer update. Okay, it's in the file I'm dealing with. We'll get rid of it first and then see if we still have an error. Okay, so it's not continuing, is it? No, okay. We did get rid of the error. And let's refresh the page and see that we are getting exactly what we expected, which should only be 3 records in there, and they should match what's already there. It doesn't matter if I call update 3 different times. It doesn't matter. It should update as I need to. I could tell it to update my character at any time. So like if I change my colors, it should send in an update and that the user is updated, and everybody should know that it's updated and requires it to run again. We don't have any errors. That's a good sign. And for colors, we now have 3 colors. Yay, we didn't duplicate in here. So now when I refresh this other screen, and that one does the update, I got my other multi-user person here, and I am going to revolve around here. Okay, so we've gone and set them in the table, but now what I haven't done yet is I haven't told it to use those colors when it's looking at them. So let me back up here. Let everything load, let our animations load. Okay, so I'm not seeing a different color or anything because I haven't told it to do anything with the colors. So when I get the avatar now, let's see. Okay, so now we know we have the right data in the table for the user colors. And if I refresh that again, now that I have 2 users in here, we should see a couple more records. Here they are, alpha joint, alpha colors. That's for this other user that's anonymous that's in my scene. Okay, so we now have colors set in the tables, which means we need to double check and see what they're getting for. By the way, I don't need this response back anymore. We already know what the avatar parts are. We'll jump back in there when we do the animations here shortly, because we got to do the same type of process for the animations so that we know which ones they're using for custom animations that they selected. But we'll get there one step at a time. In this particular part, what I'm doing, okay, so we've written the colors to the table. Now, when my user sees that there's another animation in there and we tell it to get animations, this particular process right here, get avatar, let's spit that out on the screen. Let's get a feedback from that. Let's see, this is update avatar, this one is avatars. Okay, so we need one that's basically the get avatar version of that. Let's go back to multiplayer here. And I don't need to see that URL every time. Let's find, so that updates it, which sets our current one, and here's get avatar. So we're gonna spit that one out on the column so that we can see what's being returned. And I'm gonna kind of walk it through and make sure that we're getting what we expected first, then we'll worry about setting the colors that came with it. So, and that's only going to be the people that are in our scenes. So it's getting the avatar of the other user right here. Oops. I'm going to copy that. And we're going to run that file right here. And I want to see, did I return colors with it? No, I did not. Okay, that's where we're at. I have a feeling that once we return the colors with it, then they're going to show, because I think I've already written that code. But yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. Okay, so we're working on get avatar. We have color, we have the avatar parts here, and avatar parts, we should be setting them here if this process found anything. Avatar colors right here. Let's try this. And we're in the same building ID, so we should be good with that. Found avatar ID. Boom. That particular, that may be our trip up right there. Let's find out. I want to see if I'm getting this select statement. So we're going to come back over to here. We'll run a query. First thing I got to do is put in my variables that we have for this actual table. Underscore. So, oops. It's not multiplayer, it's multiplayer. Okay, so let's put these in place. Copy that. There we go with that. There we go with that. And found user ID, well, actually we have a user ID as blank because this is the other person in our scene. This is not our person. We're logged in, but the other one is coming through anonymously, so I already know the user ID I'm sending in there is blank. That's not the end of the statement, that is. Okay, community ID, let's find out what community ID this is. Do I bring it back in here? No, I don't return it in there. Of course I don't. This particular scene is... All I have to do is click right here. Community ID is this number right there. Tells us in the query string when you're in admin mode, so just so you know, just so you're aware of it. And also, admin mode will still let you see multi-user, so you can be in admin mode and get the multi-user experience. So you get both, best of both worlds in there. So the community ID that I'm in currently is this one, and there is no building ID. We don't need that at the moment. Okay, found user avatar ID. That should be passed by this particular function, and I should actually be seeing that in here. User avatar ID is this one right there. So, with all these pieces in place, let's find out if I made a mistake in this SQL statement, because that would tell us, oh, first of all, we did not get the different colors. So, that didn't pass them. I know, I keep saying the word so. Basically, we're going to get 3 records back, and we should be getting this. We should be getting the colors. So I know. Gosh, I keep catching myself say the word so. It's probably annoying you as much as it's annoying me today. Take the word so out of my vocabulary. Click. Let's see if we can do it. Okay. Here we have user avatar ID, and that is not the right user avatar ID. There's our problem. When we looked up this user avatar ID, we got 054, and when we broadcasted it here, the user avatar ID was this one, RR8U. Is there more than one user in the table? And it is... the one that we're looking for is not even in here. Okay, we have the wrong user avatar being written to this color table. That's the problem. If we mess that up, then we're not getting the rest of the parts. So, I know, I said so again. Gosh, I'll kill myself for doing that. Okay, I have to kill that word. That's what I meant to say. This is not being updated here. When I inserted it and I told it to use this avatar ID, what happened is I'm getting this one, which is a random string being created if they weren't in use. Otherwise, it should be, well, if that isn't passed, it should actually be, if it's not empty, it does this. Otherwise, found user ID is what I'm looking at. So here, if it does this update, then user avatar shouldn't be blank. It should be this at this point in time, because it's the found user ID. Now, if I pass that through the rest of the part, thanks. Keep me on it. Keep me on that. It's getting you as much as it's getting me. Okay, thank you. This piece in place. We're not inserting a new user, so now it should... I know. That word jumped in my vocabulary today. It must have happened over this weekend or something. Usually that happens when I'm talking to somebody and they say a certain word too many times. And then I pick it up, and next thing you know, I do it for a couple days till I can kick it. Okay. Trying to substitute okay for so. That's not helping. Here we should have the correct user avatar ID going in now. So, I said it again. Ouch. Okay. First thing I'm going to do is delete these items out of here, because if they don't have the right user ID, the rest of the pieces aren't going to fall into place. Let's do a refresh on both pages and see if we are writing the correct one now. Turning him around. Okay, this one. Wake up. There it is. I don't think he liked that I didn't have the page focused. Nothing worked. Thanks. Let's check the colors here. The first thing I need to check to see is, am I getting the right user avatar IDs? EA, no. Those are not the right avatar IDs. These are the right avatar IDs right here. Where am I getting those avatar IDs if they're not coming from the files that I'm updating? There's the problem. Okay, let's back up this file. That is the part we need to fix to make the colors work. And it's also going to be the exact same thing that breaks our other part. We pull this value based on user ID, and that, let's find out what... I'm going to break the code for a minute. We're going to make this not be JSON for a minute so that I can check some values here. Let's see. JSON comes in right here with the header and with the response at the end. So if I take... said the word again, catch myself. But if I take those out of the loop, now I should be able to spit things back on the page fairly easy. And we're going to check a couple values. The first one we want to check is the user avatar ID that's coming into this system. We don't need... We should be... When they come in, we should not be creating a new one. That's where the mistake is. We did it on the second half also. If they were passed a value and it's not null, which means that it exists in the first place, then that value should be set here. I should not be creating a new one. Then if I take that out, caught myself halfway through the letters SO. I'm getting better. If I take that out and write it this way, then I should be getting the one that was passed with it, which came from the initial system. Taking that into account now, deleting these. Come on. We're going to get rid of these colors because they're not using the right value. And then we're going to delete the user avatars because this is where the confusion's happening. We have the wrong ones written in there. And once they write the wrong value, we're trying to reuse the wrong value with the new value that's coming in that is correct. So, I know, I just said it again. That is such a habit today. I didn't even do that last week. If you look back on the other values, or the other videos, I did not even say the word S-O. Gosh. Okay, and guess what? Did you notice the color of the avatar that's loading in front of us? Yes, we got the colors. That fixed it. I was putting the wrong avatar ID in place, and once that happened, it could not work with it. So, that's the worst so. Yeah, I know you hit me again. Okay, I gotta really focus to not say that word anymore. Too funny. Too funny. Avatar is now using the correct color. And the thing about it is the walk is normal. What I'm going to do is on my second machine here, I'm going to change the walk to something else. It doesn't even matter which walk I pick. but I need to have something else in the lineup for the animations because we're going to work on making sure that the animations are loading with it. Staggered walk, the strut walk. I stopped myself halfway through the word. I think happy walk is appropriate because basically when it works, it'll be a happy walk. And I'm also going to do some optional gestures. Let's see if we can make him wave when it's all working. So we'll add a simple wave and let's add a Gangnam style dance or something. Because then we'll know we're loading extra functions on top of that, the extra animations. Okay. I know you can't see my other screen. It's off to the side here, but what I have is a second computer running another screen down there so I can detect what's there and what's happening with him. Okay, close avatar settings, and he reloads. Technically, the animations would be loaded, but in this particular case, we have not told it to grab the other animations. When I tell this screen to walk forward, for example, it's using the default walk. He is not doing the happy walk. And I loaded the happy walk, so we should be able to... Gosh, I can't get rid of that word today. It's just, I'm going to shake my head 100 times afterwards and kick the habit before tomorrow. How's that? Okay, in here, what we just did for the parts right here, I need to now do for the animations. This right here, grab the parts, and then we did the cycle with it. On top of that one, when we look at... Oh, I closed the screen. Okay, let's reopen, close tab. Let's get this one back open. In this piece right here, actually, this isn't even the easiest way to see it. In this file, avatars, we created one that says, okay, so it's basically avatar at the lowest level. Then we have avatar animation defs, which are the definition files that run the animations. Okay, this one, avatar animation defs, we're going to, first of all, we're going to shorten that word because I don't want to type that each time. Z animation def equals, oh, I'm in the wrong place. Yeah, let me finish typing it first. Actually, it's going to be right here. Like we did the avatar parts, we are going to do this one, which is, instead of that, it is right here, this. And then once we have that piece, we are going to, actually, I'm going to put an S at the end of that because then I can come back with a singular version of that afterwards. I'm going to, it's going to be right to there, and no, I need one more. Right to there. I'm going to copy that, and even though I'm doing them in the other order, I'm going to put it closest to where we're working so that I can change up these items without scrolling back and forth across the page every time I need it. This is avatar parts. I'm going to put that there, and we're going to use the animation def instead of avatar part, which means starting with, at the very beginning here, there's going to be a bunch of pieces we have to change. I'm going to change it in these places just because when I copy and paste something nearby, I don't want to grab something that isn't here. That isn't a valid value anyway, so let's get these out of here. I know I said it again. That word has got to be destroyed out of the English language. Avatar part. First thing we're going to do is we are going to look in a different table, which is our user animations. This is where we're going to be going, and those are the fields we're going to be tracking. And. Okay, I'll try for and. If I'm filling it up with and, then I don't use the other word. Okay. The other word was driving me nuts, so we definitely... I did it again! It's just becoming hilarious now. I mean, what else do we have? Might as well laugh it off. And here we go. First thing we're going to do, we're going to look in here, and we are going to check User Avatar Animation ID. So, dang, that word. You got it. Okay. That one is going to be User Avatar Animation ID. That's a mouthful, big long variable. I normally don't use those very long variables because of, well, just because they're obnoxiously long. But in this case, there's a few places I want to put it that match what I'm putting it into the statement that I'm working with. With that, copy that, and it's going to be that. Copy that and drop it here and here. And no, it's not there. Here we have the one that we're trying to insert, which would mean it's here. And get the Z off of that. And it would be the first value that I'm going to throw in here and there. That should cover the ID part of this. We're keeping the Z and those pieces in place because we do have Avatar Animation ID. Oh, this Avatar Animation ID is actually on the server level telling it which animation it is. Yeah, okay, we'll pass that for now. Because the system's going to actually use some other things from there. When people want to add different custom animations, we're going to have to take that one more step farther. I must have done it. I didn't even catch myself on that one. Woof. Here we go. User Avatar ID. Okay, so Avatar Animation ID. This is your back host of which animations they're talking about, and that pulls the extra information about that animation. I caught myself halfway through it. I did. Damn. Keep me honest. Oh, jeez. Think first, then talk. No. I try not to do that too much because not enough words come out of my mouth. I don't think that's ever been a case with me, though. Not in a lot of years. What we have is a failure to communicate. No. Okay, going through this. The Avatar Animation ID is one value we're going to read in, so... damn! I cannot get rid of that word. I've never had this much trouble getting rid of a word out of my vocabulary. Today's just one of those days. I'm not thinking clearly or something. I don't know. But this one's going to be animation ID. And then we will have user avatar ID. I'm just packing these out from the left column here. Instance ID. Avatar animation name. And we have speed ratio, walk speed. We got a few more. Let me put in... Yeah, let's just do this one. Two. Oh, there's only two more. I was close. See, there's this speed ratio that I put in here when I'm working with these different items, and that walk speed. I have a couple variables that I set up in here. I haven't given you full control of them yet, but you will get that. What it does is they actually allow it to set how fast it plays an animation and how fast it what's the other piece? How fast the person moves when they walk, for example. So like if you're trying to, I said the words, if you are trying to walk and the animation moves at a certain pace, you can adjust the walk speed, will tell it how far to move for every cycle of the actual moving forward. Above and beyond that, the speed of the animation can be adjusted to make him move faster or slower in the animation itself. So between the walk speed, which is the distance it's moving over time, and then those two can be used to coordinate within themselves to make sure that when you walk, it looks natural and you're not sliding across the ground. Okay. With that, we have user ID is a string. The animation ID is a string. We have that around there already. The instance ID is a string. Animation name is a string. Animation name basically is telling it what command to do. For example, on walk, or if it's an option, it's on option, which are all those optional ones you can pick from. If it has on backwards or on walk back, or there's a handful of different ones. These are numbers, so we're going to pull those values that we get from here and drop them right in. And now with these same values, we need to add some more pieces down here. I have the instance. I did not put the user ID, which is a key function in determining which one's which. I use the user ID here. I think we may need that field in this table. Or by this time, I already know which avatar ID it is, and I have the user avatar ID. So, yeah, damn, I said it again. There's no killing that word for me today. User avatar ID, we will use the instance, and I like using two values instead of just one, because the instance is truly where you are right now in which browser. The user avatar ID can be used by multiple instances if you're logged in. So I like to use two values where instance is always one of them. That's why I do have instance already written into that table. Okay, so damn, I did it again, no matter how hard I try. It's one of those days. I have no control over that today. Okay. User animation ID, user avatar ID. We know the user avatar ID. We are throwing the instance in here. We are going through those values. We have the user avatar animation ID. We need the animation ID, which... How did I not end up with that one in there? Okay, somehow I did not get the animation ID in here. We have Oh wait, avatar animation ID, it's first. I don't know why I looked right past that. Because the user animation ID is the one we're looking up at as value here. It isn't part of this function up here. We're going to say the animation ID. Then we have user avatar instance. Then we're going to go into the name, speed ratio, walk speed, and is there anything else that needs to get inserted? We don't have the user ID there, so damn. That is frustrating. One of these days, we're just going to have to hook up electrical shock every time I say that word. No. Actually, I think my brain's already doing that because my brain goes, "You said it again," the second I do it. So, damn. My brain notices right afterwards. Turn up the charge. Turn up the charge. Okay. User avatar ID is this value. I'm going to talk careful. Put that one there. Then we need the instance after that, which is this one. We have it right here. It is the third item in the list, yes. Then we have avatar animation ID, which is this one. Oh, instance had a shortcut. I didn't have to do it from what's being read in, but that's fine. Then after animation ID, we have avatar animation name. Just grab that piece of it here. Next is speed ratio, which is here, and walk speed, which is here. The name that all those have single quotes around them because they're all strings. These two do not. They are not a string. And I think we have something in place to record them. Let's give it a test. If we look in this table, it is currently, oops. Oh, don't highlight something when you look at something. There we go. We have no values in that table, which means as soon as I refresh this page and save it, we should have some values. And I'm going to refresh the second machine also. And I probably followed up by saying the word afterwards, huh? Whoa! Our animations came in at a weird order, and it is a giant inside the machine, so we're going to refresh that one more time. I have to do some things to prevent that and make sure it doesn't happen, but in the meantime, I'm not going to fix that right this minute. It's a known issue. Okay. Stop myself halfway through the word. Come on. Come on. There we go. And okay, let's have him walk. Let's have him walk and see if we get the happy walk. Going right at ya. Nah, that looks like the regular walk. I don't think that's the happy walk. Let's see if we recorded something here. No, we didn't get him in here. Something went wrong with the writing of those records. There's no error written there. Oh, I'm not passing that value through. Okay. We need... Oh. Found at user animation should be instead of that one there. And that should... User animation being inserted is coming up with what? The original that we read in. We should be good on that. Oh, but found was null because it was set here and not set there. Okay, let's try that again. Let's just refresh the page and see if we get something written into the database. Okay. I know it starts loading that one before this animation drops his arms. I need to double check that. That's kind of annoying to me. There he goes. Now he's completely loaded. And there's our other character in there. Notice this guy has the happy walk. See how it looks? That's what we're expecting from the other guy when it works. Let's check here. No, it did not load. Oh, that's ear log, sorry. Let's check here and see. We're not getting any animations loaded. Something happened with this piece. Update avatar. I'm not kicking back any feedback right this minute, so I can... damn it, said it again. I can't get rid of the word so. I keep repeating it, and it's driving me nuts, which I'm sure it's driving you nuts too. Get avatar. We are returning those pieces. This update avatar piece. Wait a minute. Where? Okay, that's fine. Animation defs is here. Avatar parts is there. Let's see if we're getting the animation defs. Let's check at that level. To call this page, what am I going to have to do? Before we wrote the array down at this level to get the avatar parts, let's put the defs down at that level so that we can drop them out right here and echo that onto the page. That should give us some feedback on this page to see that we are actually getting the avatar defs. I want to make sure that we're getting the listing of them to process them. Update avatar is the one we want to find, and right now we're telling it to do that. Update avatar is this one. Let's get the URL so that we can check it. If I refresh this page, then I will get the update when mine processes, which is right here. Copy that. I'm going to leave those couple up there because I tend to need them one time or another. And got the word and in there instead of the other word. Animation IND, animation ID, user avatar, animation ID. We have values. We have Gangnam Style Dance, and we have Happy Walk right here. So I caught myself halfway through that one, trying to get the word so out of my vocabulary. Both of these are showing up through here, which means that here I should be getting these values, because that's what I checked is this value. For each def, I should be getting a user avatar animation ID. Let's check that value. Oops. Yeah, no, close it. User avatar animation ID is right here. That's the value I should be reading in. Avatar animation ID, on walk, friendly name. I don't even need the friendly name for loading them. Load priority, that's all fine. That has to do with a sort order. Animation icons, default speed ratio. Okay, and then it gives me the information for loading those particular files from particular folders, that's all good. So it's getting the extra information that it needs and brings it in. Okay. Then here, under the instance ID and this, we should be getting a found user animation. No, it's not in our table here. We should not be finding anything there, which means it should be doing the insert, which is right here. We're not getting any errors though, so it's not popping an error. Is it even trying to do this function? That should all be clear. It should be getting to right here. I'm going to just say I'm going to do that. We're going to kick some word on the page just so we can see that it arrived where we expected. Then we're going to turn off these two so that the headers don't tell it that it's a JSON file. Now when I run this page, I should get what I'm expecting is the word insert on the page. My cup runneth dry. Come on. Guess it's doing a refresh. No, it didn't spit anything on the page. Usually means that there was some type of thing that it caught on the page and it didn't show up. Let's check the log file on the server. And I'm not seeing a log file here. There's one. That's what we're getting. Okay, multiplayer, line 144. It doesn't like that. I'm also going to delete this log so that I can tell if it's happening again or if that was in the past before I fixed it the last time. Because 144 was the line I was getting the error on the page before. Let's bounce to here and see line 144 is that same line. Oh, this. Well, it's not even the same line as we had it before. So I'm assuming this was the line before for 144. Jeez. Yep. How do I gain a word like the word SO and I drop it in my vocabulary in just one day? Because my last broadcast, I wasn't using that word at all. And now I caught it and it's like in every sentence I say. Okay. User animation defs are here. And for each one, we're reading the file. And that should be giving us the user animation ID. Just to see where this is getting to, because insert didn't happen, so it wasn't trying to echo that onto the page. Is it trying to do an update because it actually found something here? That would be really difficult to find because there's nothing in that table. But if this failed and it wasn't able to make the call, that could explain some. Oh, part ID. Part ID isn't any part of this. So we're not even running this process. Ah, there we go. User animation ID, which is this guy. It was staring me in the face. Now let's refresh it and see if we survive that piece. Playing Minecraft. Okay. There's our two guys. Finish loading. Come on, what's going on? And something in the error log. Okay. User avatar ID, undefined property. User avatar ID isn't in the result set. That we'll need to fix. User avatar ID. Oh, wait, it's not in the results set. We were passing that from we were passing that as this right here. User avatar ID, because we already know the value, it was on the top of the page. We do not need it to come from the results set. We just need to write it here when we're doing it. And here, user avatar ID. And I don't think I had used it anywhere else. Let's refresh. We're almost there. We're almost there. We're getting there. We're getting there. And come on, come on, come on. Load the animations. Load the animations. What's taking so long? Loaded up both these guys before it did the animations. Multi-user open chat. Okay. Instance is not a function. That's fine. I've canceled the chat part at the moment because I didn't want to read that into here. Let's see if, first of all, if we got any new errors. Yes, we did. Okay, it didn't like that. And did we get something written to here? No, we didn't, of course, because we still have an instance of user avatar ID trying to be written. Let's find it. Stop myself halfway through that one. User avatar ID. It's in the table. Oh, it's right there staring at us in the face. It is this one. And now that should take care of those instances. I'm speaking very careful now. No. Okay, let's give this a shot. Reload the page. See what we have. That's pretty cool. Pickup truck in Minecraft. Build a pickup truck in here. Let's make it run. And come on, load the... You can build things in here. It's my 3D things. You can build them from scratch. You can create all kinds of cool stuff. Then we'll teach it how to run and drive. Then you can drive it around. You don't need experience making stuff. I got a lot of videos out there on my YouTube channel. It tells you how to create things in the side. Yeah, but I'll show you. Well, I'll show you where we can find those links. There's a lot of tutorial videos telling you how to create things. I've updated the interface a little bit, a lot, but the videos still work and it still shows you how to create things, so it's pretty cool. I said the word SO again. It's a trap. Let's check let's check these. No, we still don't have something here. What's going on? And let's check the error log. What did I miss this time? Instance ID. It doesn't like instance ID either. Okay, fine. We have the instance ID. We don't have to read it from there. We're reading it from here. And where instance ID equals that. I don't need to update the instance ID when I'm already checking if the instance ID equals this. Also, the user ID isn't going to be found in this table because we don't have a user ID in this table. I'll have to fix that in a second. Okay. But instance ID, we're going to change that out for our actual instance ID on the page because we already know what that is. And this part isn't going to happen. It needs to be this line, just like it was when we checked to see if it existed. There we go. Now we have the user avatar ID there and there. Refresh. Okay, let's back up. And now, do we have animations? First of all, error log. Oh my gosh, avatar animation name. Is anything coming through in this result set? It doesn't have the words avatar animation name. Where am I pulling this data? Because it should have all this stuff in it. Avatar defs. If I go back to my update page, and instead of updating that on the page, we tell it to show us this avatar defs on the page again. I want to see if it actually exists there. What's going on? Why this one? And what did I break? This should be pulling it from here, which should be reading in that, which should be coming from here. Oh, okay, so animation defs, animation def, and these should be the values we have available. Avatar animation ID was available because it was right there when we pulled it. What's going on with... So it doesn't like avatar animation name out of that definition file. Let me do it this way. We shouldn't be hitting that at the moment. It's trying to insert it now because we got farther in the code. And because we got farther in the code, it's blocking me being able to just spill it on the page. So I'm going to... I said it again. I'm going to block this part of the code for the moment, which is right there. Now it won't try to run it. Okay. We have animation ID, animation name. It doesn't say user avatar animation name, it's just animation name, which doesn't match avatar animation name here. That's where we have the inconsistency. Okay. I'm going to leave it as an inconsistency right now because I want to see this process work. But that'll be something I'll probably correct later on so that it's the exact same way it's written in the database the whole time. Is the animations down here, user avatar animations, yeah, avatar animation name. See, I didn't even call it that there. Okay, that means anywhere I called it animation name, I need to change in the code. I'll do a search and replace globally afterwards. But in the meantime, we've fixed that one, so let's delete. I said it again. Wow. Apply that. And now 8. You're counting. Thank you. I love it. Let's go here. Refresh this page. Every once in a while, because it's using a Windows server, when I go to refresh, it actually refreshes the cached version in IIS. And that's why you see it take a little bit longer sometimes and not others. Sometimes it just updates the script that I'm working with. Other times it goes the whole route and updates what's on the server. Those are the times it takes longer to reboot. But it's just because I changed core code pages. Once it gets the cached version and it knows that I'm not making changes to it, the whole thing works a lot faster and a lot smoother. Damn, did it again. Count that. Okay, with this refresh, do we have an error log issue? No. And animations. We have animations. Okay. We have on walk and 4 animations, but that's my user has 4 animations loaded. That's a good sign. Now I will refresh the other user on the page. And it should show up a little bit farther away because the starting spot is there. I'm going to turn it so that we can see what they're doing. Now, if I rotate, I know I'm standing in the ground, I know. That's a little offset that I gotta fix. But I'm going to walk this way, walk this way. Is that more of a happy walk? Kind of looks like it, I don't know. We'll have to see if that looks like a happy walk or not. Let me back him up. The backup walk is just the typical walk. Now, let's see. If I go forward, it kind of looks like maybe, I don't know. Let's see if it loaded. Well, there's an easy way to tell. I can do some of the other animations. Let's check the table. We have additional data here. We have 1, 2, 3 different places. We have an on walk, we have an on option, and a second on option. Gangman style and a wave. So those are all 3 of the pieces in place, which means if I come to this scene, I don't need to open up anything right now, and let's try. I don't think he's running the animations. No, he's not running the animations. Okay. We've gotten where it is putting the animations into the table. Next is to make sure that the SQL statement, which I believe we put here. Oh, wait. When we get the avatar, that statement gets that, but this statement adds in the animations. So I need to make sure that I did it again. Wow. The word SO seems to be stepping up into my vocabulary, and everybody's trying to help me stop it. So when you see the little count on there, that's the people catching me do the SO word. Ouch. They're helping me quit the habit of using the word SO. Okay. And we have this right here, found avatar. That's not the ID that I want to use. Yes, it is. Found avatar, because it is the one that we found. Okay, I only have to put in 1 value to see that this brought back some data. Let's check that first. I know I opened these pages 100 times here. Each one is a different instance, but it's the exact same table. Okay, we'll leave one of them open just so that we have our record set of that. And I will open another screen, set the... Oh, it's not the right table. I can already see what it is. This command here is going to the wrong table in the wrong database. We can fix that by just adding this multiplayer prefix onto the table name, which will put us into the right instance of what we're doing. Put those in place, and like that nifty use of the word and. Let's reload. And we'll reload the other screen. I'm going to back him up a touch. Come on, finish loading. There we go. Put them. I'll turn them a little bit so we can see what they're doing. There it goes. It's loaded. We're walking around in a circle just so I can face the other direction. Let's back up a touch. And if I play an animation, let's see what happens. No, it's not catching the animation. Okay. We know they made it to the database. And with this piece, we should now be using them from the correct table. So let's put that in here and see what we're getting. Underscore multiplayer underscore. That should get us, that's the prefix that it's adding to those functions. Okay, this found user avatar ID should be, oh, let's look here. It would be user avatar ID, and it's going to be this guy, because it's the other person, not my person in the scene. Where'd I go? There's where I'm at. And if I put that in here, now we should, oh, there's our error. Okay, 3D WalkTheWeb table. We have something labeled, what do we have? We have a table reference. Oh. Wait, 3D WalkTheWeb, that is the table. Avatar animations doesn't exist. Oh, user avatar animations. That is not this table. I did not send the animations with it. Okay, for now, this is one thing I'm going to have to fix, but for now, I'm going to send it to this other table and connect with it, and it's going to bring back the data. Trust me when I say this is... well, let me hard code it for the moment, just so we can see some animations work. That table are the actual animations. Damn. Ouch. Oops. Okay, backing up so we're not standing on top of each other. Let's click this button down here. There we go. We have animations and avatar. Okay, now the happy walk. Yay, there it is. Going on by with the happy walk. Okay, so, damn, did it again. Even trying not to say it, I still say it. Now I'm saying damn a lot because I say so and then I say damn to follow up. Okay. What we were able to do here is we were able to pass the animations and the colors of the person and bring them back into user land here. If I do one animation one way or the other and try to signal or do whatever I'm doing from one side to the other, if I do that person's animation and we're in multiplayer, now we're seeing what we see from the other person doing it. Yay! We have multiplayer interaction with the actual dancing or whatever they're doing. If they're moving around, it's playing the animations that they're currently running. We fixed it! Yay! We've gone that far forward. The one piece that we didn't bring forward with us is this particular table. Avatar animations, I was using that as kind of a master record of animations at the time. But what I'm going to have to do is I don't want to pass that table to the multiplayer system. I just want to pass the values that I'm trying to pull from there. So, damn, did the SO again and that. Blah, blah, blah. The letter A is the table I'm bringing these values from. So it includes low priority, friendly name, animation icon, the folders that it come from, the start and end, the loop, everything. This has a lot of values that are coming from here. What I want to do is when you update the avatar and you put these values into this user avatar animations, I want those values populated in as part of this table. That way, I don't have to bring a whole nother table just to say this is the animation they were using. All I really need is certain key values that play the animation. With that, I caught myself that time. With that, basically, I don't need everything here, per se. Well, actually, I need everything but this and this. I'll need the rest of that stuff to make it work. What I'll do is, this is the update process. I can pull these values from the piece that I'm using to do the update process, which is here, and make sure that I put those values into a table where I'm going to grab them. Okay, that's where I'm going to head with this. We're going to make it part of that. Then it's part of the multiplayer system, and we don't have to create another table, which is just a bunch of dummy headings of avatar or animations. We want to know what avatar animation they're doing. And also, I want the degree of separation so that if you created a custom animation, then it will use your custom animation instead of the one that is a default across all systems. So the only way that's going to happen is if we use it this way. I know, I catch myself halfway through the word SO. Okay, I need to take a 5-minute break. I need to refill my cup, get something else to drink, and then I will be back, and we're going to do exactly that, those pieces that I just mentioned. So let's take a, here was it. I finished with an SO. Dang. I'm going to take a 5-minute break, and then we'll jump back in with the coding. Let's see. Welcome back. I'm back. I'm welcoming myself back. Okay, that's good too. What we're doing right now is we're getting the multiplayer functionality all in place, and I have a few things in here. One of them is when we do the update process, I'm bringing in a lot of the values and sending it back to the multiplayer system, but in the multiplayer system, I didn't track a couple of the variables. And it turns out that this stuff in this table, these items, need to be passed in so that I can work with them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to manually create them into the table. Then we're going to update the code that writes the table afterwards, which no problem there. But we want to add these extra fields. And then we're going to make sure this update process, when you first log into the multiplayer system, it jumps back, writes it to the tables, and gives us all the values that we need, not just the current ones. So if you have any questions along the way or anything like that, hey, don't hesitate to chat it up. Also, if you haven't followed me, go ahead and follow me, because anybody that's here, the earlier system people that get in here, basically, if you ever need anything, if you need something written to the core, if you need some help on a project, whatever else, you guys are my friends, you guys are my followers, whatever. I'll take extra care of you guys. And early adopters are the ones I take more attention to and prioritize over people that need things elsewhere. So just want to let you know that is an option. But I appreciate y'all being here, and let's keep on going. We're moving right along. We created this stuff. We created it to be able to do this multiplayer avatar. I'm going to alter this table, and I need to add some fields. And where these fields are coming from is actually my avatar animations up here. So I'm going to click Alter Table on that one, and I'm going to grab these fields. We're putting them into the multiplayer system. Let's see. It is everything from load priority. Let's see if I can get these in one side of the screen so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, we have load priority, animation name. I don't need to click on that. Friendly name, icon, folders, start frame, end frame, loop. Pretty much every one of those fields going down through there. The only one it didn't really do is animation name, which I already have in the other table. That's why. Okay. That means I can take from here to there, copy that, go to this table, paste it here, and it's not going to like animation name because we already have, we have avatar animation name. We have two different names. I'm going to delete this one because it's basically a duplicate of what we need. And then I'm going to save these, but I want their priority to be after walk speed. So if I hit apply, the very first one, I'm going to put that after walk speed. And we have the extra fields in the table. Now we have them all here. Oh, speed ratio copied twice. Let's fix that real quick. Alter that table. This one was a copy, so we can delete that item. And the rest of these all look good. Okay, there's my list. Yep, that looks good. Now, from here, first we're going to do the update. When I send in these particular values, let's see. This is on your system, multiplayer update. This can actually run settings against, well, the multiplayer database, but I think we can do this without any problem. We can actually grab the other values here because this sits on the side that's sharing out the information. Okay, just thinking out loud, which kind of works since you guys are listening out loud. I pass these from the system. When it gets here, what I have is this. I'm going to use this information here, user avatar ID, we get that value, and that helps us through this piece. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to, let's see, where do we have the, for each one of these animations. We're doing the animations right here. With these, each one of these go in here, we grab the animation, and before we do the update or insert, so it would be right here, would be the place where I need to do it. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to grab the values that we're going to add to it at this point in time by calling, there's two pieces here. I want to make sure, no, that's JavaScript. I don't. Whenever I use these classes, I have a different. What is the? It is WTW table prefix. That's the variable that we need to use to hit this other table. So we're going to drop that in here, and we're going to select everything from, isn't it avatar animations, the name of the table, avatar animations, because we're gaining those values that we had based on the avatar animation ID. We're going to grab all these values, avatar animations, and we're going to do it based on the avatar animation ID. That's the value that we need to use. Avatar, oops, I just took the word avatar twice. Avatar animation ID. And that value is actually right. We didn't insert it here. Avatar animation ID. Here it is. We have that value right here. So I'm going to grab that here and place that value right here. What this is doing is it's grabbing a select statement from there that goes directly against whatever animations they've saved in their system, or if they've added new ones or whatever they've done. And basically I'm grabbing that value. We need more than limit one. No, it should only be one. We're only grabbing one animation ID at a time. This is rebuilding the whole piece. And with this, what we need is we're going to have some different variables, and it's going to match all those different items that we had. So Z loop, or load, I'm sorry, load. Load priority is one of them. Well, let's go ahead and write the whole thing out. Load priority is, well, actually, we're going to set it here. So load priority, and I'm just going to make that a blank. We're going to go through and create each one of these values that we need. So there's load priority. There is animation name, which we already have. Animation friendly name. Actually, yeah, we'll write it. It doesn't matter. We're not even using that value, but it's okay to have it. Animation icon. Then just going down my list. Object folder. And eventually we'll add in the domain that it's coming from so that the whole path is there, not just the object folder. And then object file. Going right down the list. Start frame. End frame. And animation loop. And let's see, we have a few more. We have sounds that can play at the same time that you're doing your animation. Speed ratio was already there, I believe. So we have sound ID, sound path, and sound max distance. So animation loop, then sound ID. Sound path and sound max distance. Okay, those are the values that we're going to read in and set right here. From this particular piece, which are going to have the exact same names as the originals, so that should be easy enough to do. I'm still using the word SO. Okay, moving on. Not obsessing over it. Okay, from here, load priority. Each one of these now are going to have 0 and the name of the item. In this case, we're going to be copying and pasting the name that came from there because they are the same names before and after. I'm just going to get a couple of these quickly. Okay, grab all that instead. And I'm just going to put these in place. And now I can copy that. That. Just going down the list. Copy that. Animation loop. And by the way, I use animation loop on all of the animations that are being used by the person or the avatar, because if it's set for a loop, then I can just turn the weight on and off, but the animation is always there. So we load the animations, then basically I set the weight. One would be fully run this animation only. If I balance it between multiple things, like when I first start something, notice you're in an idle when you're standing there. The weight of the idle is 1. But as I start to walk, instead of just click it over to walk, I actually change the weight of the idle lower as I raise the weight of the walk, so that it always has something. That way it can transition from waiting to walking until it's at 1 is the full weight of the walk going on. And so I balance back and forth between the different items while we're going. Okay, have the values in here now. And finally, what we can do is use them to do the update right here. This piece we're going to have, we're going to have a whole bunch of these in here. I'm going to copy this line only because it's easier to copy and paste from above and drop them right in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think it's 11. If I miscounted, I can fix it afterwards. Load priority Z. So we'll grab that. And animation friendly name. And icon. Folder. Object folder. Oops. Right there. Object file. Start frame. End frame. Animation loop, sound ID, path, and max distance, and going back up the list. Cool. Going back up, sound path, sound ID, animation loop, end frame, start frame, object file, object folder, icon, I can do it, user friendly name, animation friendly name, which is right there, and load priority, which is right there. And that puts us at the top of the list. Those items are there. And now I need, well, you know, there's an easier way to do that. Let's take this list here. And I have to put them into the insert, which are going to be right there. I'm going to indent them properly and now cut out all the extras. Just doing some format here. Get them all into place, but what we're doing is we're passing all these extra values so that we can work with it in place. I use Blender too to create all the higher end models of all the different things. Blender's an awesome product. If you haven't used it, they have some great tutorials. I keep on hitting it 3 times instead of 2. There we go. There's my list of fields. I'm going to take a copy of that so I don't miss one of them and keep them in the right order, and I'm going to drop them right there. Now I need this formatted version of what they are. Actually, I need to fix this. Load priority, I believe, we need to see which ones are numbers and which ones are not. It's an integer, that one, and start, end, and animation loop are all numbers, speed ratio. Okay, there we go, and this one, icon folders, start frame is a, if they're numbers, we don't need the tick marks around them. In fact, it will actually break the statements, so we have to take them out. That was a proper use of the word SO. Okay, load priority. We're going to grab each one of these one at a time and drop them into where they belong here. The next one is animation friendly name. Then animation icon. By copying and pasting, I lower the amount of chances that I have that I'm going to do a typo when I put them in here. Makes it easier if I just grab them here and drop them here. Object file. Start frame. End frame. Animation loop. Sound ID. We're almost there. We only got 3 more. We're getting there. Copy that to here. Then we have the sound path. And sound max distance. Now that all the values are in here like they belong, now we can correct another piece of the puzzle, which is on the get side, we don't need this table. We don't need no extra table. We don't need no thought control. Okay. Now they're pulling them all from this table. Actually, we don't need that. We don't need any of these listed independently. Default speed ratio, I do. That's a copy, but I'm going to keep it in there because I may have used it some places. If a ratio wasn't set, which we're always going to get their ratio, so I don't think I need default ratio anywhere. I don't need it. Because we're going to get the ratio of the one they're using, not what they put behind it. I think habit is spelled with one B. Now that I look at it, it looks like it rhymes with rabbit now. We have this. We're pulling the values. We need it to be U for the load priority here. And are there any other values? No, they're all within that table. That will give us the animations. And here we're building this piece, which means we now have load priority and all those fields in here. I think we're going to be good. How did we know where they were broken? What was it we were testing? Oh, I removed the other table from that query, which is the problem we wanted to make sure we got rid of. With that, I should be able to load up the scene. Come on. Oh, and what did I miss here? This didn't like something. Okay. Why did it not like some? Did it not like, because I clicked on some while I was doing it. Click is fine. I know what the click is. It's instancing a chat, and I didn't mean to click on my own avatar because it probably went through the steps of doing that. No, it did it on its own. Okay, so we have something causing a bug there. We're going to figure out which piece is causing that. Okay. I'm guessing, since this is what we just changed, well, the update we just changed, let's see if it gave us an error in the error file. That's a good place to start. It's a lot easier to track an error if we list it. Okay, default speed ratio, undefined index, but I'm not calling, I don't think I was putting that anywhere, was I? Get avatar, default speed ratio. We don't need default speed ratio anywhere because we're actually reading the current speed ratio. We shouldn't be using that anywhere. We'll check for that later, but that's what the error was. The other piece I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure those extra values in the table are being populated now, because we should be getting them from this piece we just did, and they should be dropping them all in the table. Okay, I'm this far apart from you. Okay, there we go. This is all loading and running. That's a good sign. Let's check the extra values. It's actually right here. And we now have, yep, animation icon, we have the gesture, we have the files that run them, and all their values. Looks good to me. Let's refresh the other screen. And if everything still works, then we are actually good to go. We were able to create and move. Let's check this. And I'm going to rotate them around in a circle. Turning around. Is it following the animation or not? Oh yeah, I did. Okay, it's not animating. Something didn't come through. I don't think it likes that value being missing, default speed ratio. So let's look for that in the code. Find in files. Yeah, I'm pulling that in a number of places. Instead of killing it, what I'm going to do right now is we're going to add it and just call it the same thing. Default speed ratio, and it's going to be our speed ratio. So there are no differences between the two. Basically, that is my other machine. I'm running between the two and just reaching back and forth of which one I want to move at the instance. That way it can detect between the two and run different pieces. Let me refresh that one. that's kind of interesting. His arms are out and he's not quite rotating like he is on my other screen. We'll work on that. We'll work on that. We'll see what's going on. I think he went to a partial instead of a full thing. Let me see here. Okay, just to do it. So the happy dance walk works. See, he can do the happy dance. That's definitely the happy shuffle. And let's see if he can wave. There's the wave. So the wave works. And of course, Gangnam Style. Got to make sure you can do that. Well, this site that I'm working on right now, it actually is there. It's public site. So if you went to 3d.http3d.net, you're going to show up in this scene too. Which may be a problem that I just told you that because... But this one does run from the public usage. If you create one, if you create a login, you'd be in there. If you do it otherwise. You know what? We've had this little test going on here for a little bit, so let's try this out. I know I did the word so just saying that, but here you go. Jump online to this place if you like, and you will be added into the scene that we're looking at on my screen right now. I'm going to go back to browsing it instead of the admin mode. That way I'll be in the same place everybody else is. Also, it doesn't load any extras when I do it that way. And let's see what happens. Come on, load up, load up, load up. Oh, come on, kick the animations off. There we go. Now I'm in an animation. Anybody want to click that link and join me in this scene? Let's see what happens. Hey, Just Cause, welcome aboard. How you doing today? Okay, so I have this other guy here, and he's walking around. Let's see, is he walking around? I'm doing pretty good. Like we said, we're working on. I'm just trying to see if other people can join my scene. Oh. When you first start the scene, whoa, we're getting some weird stuff. Okay, I suspected this. Trust me, I suspected this. There's something wrong in one of the SQL statements that's causing this. And what'll happen is sometimes it shows up as a giant on your scene. Other times it shows up too small, too big. It does some weird stuff. But what's happening here is first of all, it's ending up on 000 in my scene, which is screwing things up. The other part is if you try to move before... before it creates the ground underneath you, you fall. I haven't fixed that yet. What I need to do is I need to start that until the scene loads. Then you pretty much hover. I need to turn off gravity and turn it on after that point. Otherwise, you fall on the ground the second you try to move, and you'll end up under the water. But notice what's happening is we're not getting the starting position, and we're also... Yeah, it is bug fix day. I'm working on the multiplayer stuff, and so I knew that there was a handful of things. Right now, there's not a workaround to this. This is the piece that I actually need to fix next. What happens is it's working with only two people in the scene. Like if I take this other person off, let me close that page. And I take it away, that person disappears, and now it gives it the chance to load just one. I may have to reload my screen. So now I have this. Now it did use it that other direction. I'm just going to go back to the base page. Currently, there isn't a workaround around that because it's actually a bug that I have to fix. When there's two people in the scene, they both actually work. You can walk once it gets loaded. Oh, it has my other person in here still. See, that's where it starts bleeding a third person and makes them blank. I closed off the page. It takes 1 minute for them to disappear if they just drop their browser without actually quitting. But that's fine. That guy will disappear. But notice you become stable now. And if you moved and turned and walked or anything like that, you're famous. You're in the scene. Okay, and what it did now is you can move, you can walk, you can turn and do different things. I can even... Hey, I can even wave. Hey, there it is. And so different things work. Now, the thing about it is, what's happening is when I bring in a third person, I don't think it's finding the instance correctly, and so it's actually deleting the user and then re-adding them. There's a couple places I need to check to see where that's actually happening, but I'm going to have to track that through the code. But in the meantime, we're doing pretty good here. We were able to get this couple people up and running in here. We made the colors work, so if you were to change your color, and if I refresh my page, I don't have it where mine can trigger and know that you need to refresh your user. I don't know if I set that or not. I may have. Okay, there's some things we can test with that. But in the meantime, we have the avatars, we have the animations working. Yay. We have different things that are all working from the different scenes. If you create a login and create your other person that way, then you can name your avatar and the name comes up above the head. The other part is your different colors that you select, or if you choose any animations to customize your guy, then it will automatically take on those animations. Like here I'm using the happy walk, kind of a do-do-do-do-do. To move forward, you can use the arrow keys. You can use A, S, D, W letters and move around, strife and stuff. You can use Q and E to rotate. You can use the arrow keys. Left and right will rotate, and forward and backwards will move forward and backwards. You can use your mouse. If you hold your mouse down on the screen, left mouse button, and as you move left and right and up and down, he looks around. If you roll the scroll bar back or forward, you'll walk backwards or forward. So it's an easy way to do it with your mouse. You can actually check things out and move in different directions. But it's a quick, easy way to get around. And of course, when you walk up to the door, go ahead and walk up to the door if you can. There you go. And, oh, it did open the door in my scene, which is a good sign that shows that you're in that area. We'll have to keep checking out some of those pieces. The other part is I have something that I'm working on where if I click on you, then I would be chatting with you. And I've got some more stuff I have to fix for that before it's ready to work. But we're getting some different pieces. These particular steps aren't the friendliest for walking. And it's because I'm detecting what's in front of you. And if it's there, then I basically try to make you go up steps. The problem that I ran into on these particular steps is there's no face of the step. Because it's just the actual steps, it tends to catch on them. If I made them all full thickness and made it where it can see that there's a step in front of it, then it actually does run right up the steps without any trouble. So this scene may be one of those things where I have to make some adjustments to make sure it works. But there's some pieces I can do to kind of adjust that. Yeah, it's just one of those things. Right now, when I check to see if anything's in front of you, I check on a straight. I could actually check on a little bit of an angle, and that would probably catch the step in front of you instead of just the immediate thing in front of you. There's some different pieces I can do that may change the orientation of how it checks that. But yeah, it basically, yeah, we have a number of things. Yeah, we're getting there though. As you can see, different pieces are coming together. Different pieces are working. Able to bring up. We have our other animations right here. You can adjust those with the button right here. Opens up your page and will take you right to them. So you can do your optional gestures and you can change those. Those are the items that show up on this list. And if you just hold your mouse down on any one of these, then it'll do that animation and play it through. Okay, when they first start, they're not 100%, so then it kicks into its 100% as you're doing it. Oh, that's a head nod. How funny. Yeah, and I got the Gangnam style dance. Here we go. Yay, something's working. No. Okay, well, that was a lot of fun. We did quite a few things today. Checked out a bunch of different issues and parts of it, and pretty good. We had quite a few people here. We have some multiplayer playing around there. I need to look into that issue where it's bringing up multiplayer on more than just two people's screens. For now, I want to save these files that I currently have and upload them to the site as the next rendition of this, because then I can start looking into the code without having so many files open. I just tend to leave the files open for the pages that I'm working with so that I don't forget to update different pieces of it. You know, it's just my way of making sure I update all the files that I was working with. And in this case, there were quite a few. We have, in fact, I know I closed one of them. It was this basic avatars page. I want to make sure I get that updated too, because it is part of the process that I just updated. Okay. Wow, we've had some fun here today. Where I'm thinking about is this. When I run the multiplayer, let me talk this through. When I run the multiplayer code, what happens is I am bringing back a list of different people that are in my current scene. When I do my update, it sends back a list of different people in the scene. Right now, if I do that with this scene, okay, that's all good. Multiplayer, user avatars, we should have the extra avatar in here now. We got the other one, which is right here. Okay. Your user avatar ID came up blank. That shouldn't be the case. It should have given you a user avatar ID no matter what. That would cause some problems. But the problem is, once we get one, looking it back up, making sure that we're using it. In this update process, I need to make sure we are getting a user avatar ID, because without that, nobody else is going to be able to join the scene. That would explain the jumping around, because it can't determine between the different users without the user avatar ID. Okay, I'm on to something. In the update process, when you first log into here, when we pass the user avatar ID, and since that's an outside system, I'm hoping it's there, but yeah, you know it. You triggered a few thoughts. Walking my way through it. And what's happening is this. This comes up blank from your user, and because it did, when I do this search by instance and user ID, I didn't find one, which is, well, you had the instance and the user ID though. You have the instance and user IDs blank, which are allowed, but when it came up blank, I need to, it shouldn't come up blank. It should not find you in there first, and then it should write it using this statement, user avatar ID. That one should have written it right there. If it's blank, for whatever reason, it would have had to have been passed in here. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to check to see if that value is blank, because if you come in blank, I want to make sure it assigns one so my tables stay clean no matter what happened on the user side. Then we're going to backtrack and find out why you didn't have a user ID on your side. You should have had one there too, but that's a different point. Okay, starting here, we're going to say if empty or not is set, then this equals connect get random string 16 comma 1 type 16 characters and one digit, and now we're getting that ID. And the other part is I'm not updating it. I'm looking to see if we found the user ID there. Okay, I'm going to drop that for the moment. We're going to delete your row out of the table, dude. And were there any colors associated with that? No, you didn't set any colors, and you didn't set any animations yet. So it didn't lock up any of those. Okay, we're good on those. Now, if you could, refresh your page and come back into the scene. Go ahead and just refresh your browser so it kicks them out and adds them back in. We'll see what happens here. Otherwise, I can bring somebody in. Oh, there you go. Thank you. And with that, we should have... Let me see if... user avatars. Now you're in here. And you have a user ID. Okay, that should help the multiplayer thing. If I take this, and now I'm going to bring my other user back in and see what happens. We're going to give it a good refresh to make sure that it goes in here, because that might have been the problem, is with the user ID blank, it didn't know how to refresh it or anything. Thanks a lot for that. And, oh, now it's jumping around on my screen again. Nope, see, we do have... See, that's causing all kinds of weird issues. Okay, let me kill that one off again. That's another piece, but the good news is we fixed one bug that could cause it, and it takes a minute for it to disappear, but that will take care of it when it does. Let me see. This one that I ran from here came up, so it didn't create another record, which is good. Yeah, I'll need to... Okay. Well, yeah, we definitely needed to rotate faster and stuff. I know. It doesn't feel right. When I use the arrow keys, I tend to be pushing shift the whole time to make it run and make it spin fast. But you shouldn't have to do that. It needs to be, when you use the arrows, you need to be able to turn it quick and, comfortably. And right now it's not quite there. We'll play around with those settings. That's all part of, getting it to a comfortable letter. Yeah. Oh, yeah, sorry. Shift does make it go into run mode, so you can actually run forward, backwards, if I hold down Shift. The other part is this window needs to be in focus. Now, because we have all these admin tools and everything else, I couldn't make it where it was just the window all the time. So this window has to be in focus. So sometimes you have to click it or tap it if you've got a touch screen or whatever to make it work. Well, touch screen, if you're doing that, you're already doing the touch controls anyway, so it isn't an issue. But if your focus goes someplace else, and when you come back, when you mouse over, it should do it. Otherwise, if you just click on the screen, then it does work. But if you hold down Shift, then you are in the run mode, and you will go twice the speed that you were before. And makes it rotate fast, makes it run fast, makes it move fast. Kind of a cool way to get around. Helps a lot. So that's just a piece in place. Let's see. It's not going smooth on my screen because I don't think I'm updating. Oh, I know what it is. I don't update that you to play the animation twice the speed like I did with the run function. I think there's a couple pieces there I still need to fix. Well, it looks like you're running from here. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to play around with that and make sure that it's running smooth. But it definitely is. There's some adjustments, of course. We're getting closer and closer as I work on this, because the other part is I'm also syncing your actual position on every frame or so to make sure it's staying up with where you currently are for the most part. You're running right up the side of the building. That's kind of cool. But, yeah, so there's a couple pieces in place there that still need to go. Yeah. I have to laugh. I have to tell this story. When I first was designing this, I was teaching a class at La Sierra, and we were doing some programming. So I showed all the students and everything else. Well, they found out that there was a bug in it at the time that if you ran backwards, you were actually going upward. So what they were doing, though, is there was a bunch of places on the scene, like there was a billboard, there was a rooftop, and all this other stuff, and they moved around, and they kept on getting up on top of billboards, on top of scenes, and all kinds of fun stuff, and it just ended up looking really funny. The other part was, it was before I had these avatars, so I had created some pretty much crash test dummy looking things that were red and yellow striped. And then if you can picture the scene, it's got this scene with billboard and a bunch of buildings and all kinds of fun stuff in it. And then we have all these crash test dummies just like fallen all over the place and launched all over the place. Some standing on top of billboards. It almost looked like the scene in, what was that movie with Meg Ryan and she was a doctor and, Nicolas Cage, where he was the angel. But they kept on standing on all the billboards, watching people drive by on the freeway and everything. Kind of looked like that scene. Do I have any movie fans out there that know some of this stuff? No. Okay. Well, so that gets us to this point. We're doing pretty good. I need to do some more studying in there. What I think is happening, and this is what, here I'll share it with you. When I detect my users in this multiplayer function, it's doing the update correctly now, so we're only getting one of you there. But what happens is the piece that you get back, well, that's the update. When I do the get avatar, which means that you have a avatar and you're sending back some information to me, I process the information that comes back, and what it becomes is set avatar instance state. This is the function that tells it if a new avatar needs to be added to the scene, if they already exist, if they're not in the scene and I need to clear them. This is the piece that does that. What I'm suspecting is that I need to walk through this code slowly, but that means I've got to manipulate some things to make it happen, I think. I got to think about how I want to set this up to test it. But I need to know at this particular point, when it does the get avatar, is it when it's more than two people, just me and one other person that it's picking up, I think it's duplicating what's on the screen. I think the SQL statement's off, and I think what I'm getting is I'm getting more than just the piece that I need. And I think I'm getting more than one person of the same person maybe, because the instance should only be showing one instance. The effect where you're seeing one's large, one's small, and they're bouncing over to different positions, that has to do with when it tries to build one over the top of one that isn't completely deleted yet. So the fact that it's flashing it onto the screen and reloading it is what's actually capturing that and crashing it, causing it to show in all kinds of weird different ways. Okay, so let's see. Let's see. Trying to think my way through this piece. Okay. What I need to do is we need to check the get avatar when there's 3 people on the screen. I need a copy of what that looks like. And then we can start looking at that, breaking it down, and seeing if that's the cause. Well, no, that's not going to help me. It is, but it isn't. Get avatar when there's 3 people on the screen. I'm trying to think of how I should catch the instance. Well, when I update my avatar position, and then the response that one gives, so that's get avatar. Let me look in that file. Did I manipulate this response? No, we are getting the avatar def with it, which is the full thing. That's all good. We're getting the piece that we need. Oh, no, this is wrong. This is wrong. This statement right here, the fact that I'm bringing back the colors at the same time that I bring back the avatars, and then I was just calling this as the user, there's my problem. I just found it. It is writing it as the last user ID, and it's automatically tripping it and making it for each color, and then the next avatar comes through. Oh, it's the way I pulled it. Okay, I need to break this down into a couple statements. One of them is this part. The way we did this animations and we added them to a particular avatar, that's correct. So for each avatar, that should happen. But this part, we need to fix this. This is not going to work the way it is. I cannot bring in the colors with the avatar in this particular way because it's creating multiple records, but I'm only counting it as one user avatar. Then what happens is the second avatar comes into the scene, I'm only preserving one of the two, and it could bounce back and forth which one's being preserved. And that's what's triggering one to be cleared because it's not in the current set. It clears it, and then it says, hey, wait, they just came in the scene, and then it tries to add it again. Okay, because of that, this is actually triggering my problem right here. The first thing we're going to do is we are going to remove this color scheme from the use of this piece that it's gathering here. I need to gather everything else, but I'm going to get rid of the items that are bringing in the color, which means this left join here, and it means this deleted color here. And right now we're sorting by this, but I would rather sort by we're okay with this because we're only grabbing a certain number of people based by distance, so we're going to automatically show all of them anyway, and they're already in a particular order. I don't see a need to sort these at all. Sorting just takes longer, and so anything we can do that when it doesn't need to be sorted, removing that from the mix actually helps the scene. Anything that can make this run faster. With that, we have these pieces, but I've now removed the color pieces from this, which are these pieces. Everything else is correct, so let me take this out of here for the moment. Avatar parts. And this is going to be in here. This is the assembly of the whole part. So avatar def, this is going to be the actual array that we're doing. Yeah, avatar defs. Is that the one I want? Avatar defs, I put it, oh, that's animation defs, I'm sorry. Avatar def is the one I'm going to be doing, and it's up here. It's actually, technically, it's avatar defs. I'm going to make it plural. That's my little pet peeve. If it's going to be more than one of them, I change it to an S just so that we have some type of traction of how they came about. This particular piece is done within the other piece, so I need to change everywhere there's an I, change it to a J so that it doesn't mess that up. Okay, that is done within this piece, which now is going to have the I. $sign I equals, or yeah, plus equals 1. I know, I'm on a roll here. And this defs is now going to be $sign I here. And then we're incrementing it, and before we started, set that to 0, there. That is the right place. This is in the loop. Well, that's after the loop. What am I doing here? I need to make sure all this stuff is in the loop. Let's get it in the right place. For each loop happens there. Those are the values, and there's the plus side. This is where I need to be. We are going, I didn't need to do it quite this way. I'm going to bring these inside. We're gonna get this. We're gonna make this all take shape here. First part is I'm going to bring all these inside because they all belong as part of these values. We don't even need this anymore. All we need to do is build them where they are. So we can do here, here, and here. X, Y, and Z. Scaling. Get that. Copy. X, Y, Z. We're doing some cleanup. Now that I can do it this direction, and we're going to fix this whole function, and then everything's going to work just fine. I detected the error. I know where it is, and I'm in the process of fixing it. So this is a Y and Z. We'll get to the avatar parts, which is the color scheme of the person, in a moment. We no longer need these values because we brought them directly into the function. This object, here we go again. This is another one that we had outside. Actually, that was inside. We should be good on those. I don't think we need this all written twice. We're going to put object folder equals this. And object file equals this one. And walk speed is here. Now we can get rid of those couple pieces. Object folder, object file. We didn't need the whole domain path. That's a different story. Scaling, we already did those. We wrote them directly. That isn't needed there anymore. Did I chop more than I needed to? If we did, we'll figure it out. This is, okay, this part here is actually going to be run once per record. And we're going to put it right here. Now, because I used Z results already for the outer story, we're going to do Z results 2, call it 2 there, call it 2 for the row, because we just need to make sure we're not using the same row value name as the root. We're going to put this in here. There's a method to my madness. We are getting everything into place, believe me. That puts that there. That gives us avatar defs, our animation defs. This particular piece now goes into the function, and it's going to be right here. And that one is our finally assemble of each one of these avatar defs are a different user avatar, which is the problem that we had before. That's why we were actually giving it trouble. With that, we have instance ID. We need to read the instance ID in from this row because there's multiple instances now running in this area. My problem is the instance ID here is the user, not the one who browsed this site. So I need to... I use the word person in front of things when I'm talking about the one out there, not the one I'm running currently. That's the name of the user when they're actually running it. Here I should be able to do that, and I should be able to use that. Where is instance? I was not bringing back... here it is, person and instance ID, but it's person instance ID. Notice person says the name of the actual thing. Instance ID is here. It's their instance ID, not mine. That's why we were running into trouble. No, actually, what happens is this. I can show you in the table. That's a very good question. When you do not log in the table, what it actually writes is a blank for the user ID And then if you are logged in, it will put your user ID there. That allows you to actually have two instances of avatars that you can use based on if you're logged in or not. Later on, we'll extend that where you can actually pick which avatar you want to use in different scenes and stuff. But this is first stage, so we kind of have to get through this piece before we can do the others. But that's a really good question. What I track is if you're not logged in, I pass the value as blank. And if you are logged in, I pass your user ID. Now, when you're not logged in, I still have an instance ID, which is a default number per browser. Yeah, the weird encoded characters, when I send them here, what I'm actually doing is I actually send them in base 64 code. So they're not readable when you're looking at it by default. It's readable because, I mean, people that know coding can decode a base 64 code. But no. These are really good. These are really good questions. And so what happens is each person, the second they start up the browser, they have an instance ID because I actually create that as part of what you're running. If you were to open up one in, let's say, Google Chrome, and then you opened up one in Safari or opened it up in Firefox or in Internet Explorer, any one of the browsers you open up would have their own instance. That way, if you are running from multiple browsers, you can actually imitate and simulate two different people in the same scene. If you chose to, you would just have to use a different browser to pull that off. With that said, when you're running it and you come in without being logged in, you get this blank part here. Now, the reason I do that is because if that's blank, then I only let you name your avatar. If you're not logged in, you come through as anonymous. You're not logged in, we don't know who you are, you come through as anonymous. If you're logged in, then I pull the default name that you have in based off from your login that you've named your avatar. Then it shows up in this area. So it kind of is a connection that way. So only logged in people get a name other than anonymous. But you can still set colors and animations for your avatar based on being anonymous. You'll only be able to use the default ones. That's kind of, just a safeguard. I don't want somebody creating some crazy animations and, causing trouble, and we don't know who they are. We do have a way of tracking who they are because, as you can see, I can also block people by IP address later on. So you know the IP address that they've browsed in under. So that just kind of, helps a little bit with a webmaster trying to control what's happening on their site. I did give some controls, some pieces where they can have some type of way of tracking things that happen on their server. Okay, but otherwise we have this here. What's happening is I didn't have the SQL right, and because of that, I wasn't building one record per avatar, and I was messing up some of those pieces because of that. With doing it this way, now I'm actually getting the user avatar the way they should be, and we should be getting these extra values. We do not load those pieces in. The only thing I have, I'm putting in my avatar when I come in, and then I write some things based on that to update where my position is and what I'm doing. So going in are my values for that. Actually, that's my update position. Get avatar is when you find somebody else in your scene, and this actually grabs their avatar and brings it, downloads to you so that you can do it. But because this one was screwed up, it was actually it was duplicating the effort. I'm reversing the way this works to fix a problem. I think it's happening on another file. All these changes, and this is a better way to do it because if I add more things to it, it needs to be this way anyway. But the avatar def should be a single file. I think I did have that correct. Problem wasn't happening here. Let me roll this back. I'm sorry. No, wait, I like where I was heading. It's a better way to do this pull. Let me keep it that way. But the way it updates, we're going to fix the way it brings the record set back. The avatar def is this one. Based on the found user avatar ID is only going to return one record. It's going to do this stuff. Yeah, I'm fixing some that didn't need to be fixed, but it's actually better anyway. We are going to bake that back singular. It's only going to find one record. It's only going to have one value here, and we'll fix that at the top. And there's a method to my madness. The other piece that we need to update is when I update the user, then what I'm doing is I'm bringing back information on what the others are doing. This is where the flaw is at. It has to be in this area, and I think I know why. I did it kind of, well, that's all the update piece. It's the way I bring back the data from this file that has the flaw that needs to be fixed. We'll get to that in a minute. Let me fix this section first, since I'm already in here. I didn't like the way it was doing it. We didn't need to run so many of these file values over here. Scaling, rotation, runtime. Okay. Okay, that clears up some of this. We just have an object folder and a walk speed. We do not need some of these values. Okay, those are correct. We're going to leave those there. When we get these values, we read them in from here anyway, and then we're writing them to this piece. This is all correct with what it's doing. It creates this animation defs, which is right here, already set, and then it puts it here, and this avatar parts we're creating is going to do something here, and we're going to do something with that. Okay, the last piece here is I need to go get these parts, and then I need to set them as this avatar parts array. That concludes putting together these values. We'll get to those in a second. They're going to be a number 2 on the parts, and this parts ID is going to be a J because it's going to cycle through that, and I need to then update J plus equals 1. That'll take care of cycling through those values. Okay, the next piece here is this statement right here. We need to go to user avatar colors, and we'll put a C next to that. We'll just bring back all color files, and it is going to be where the user avatar ID equals this one. In our colors table, let's double check that. User avatar colors, and we have user avatar ID. That's all we need. Once we have that piece, it will bring back this. We will bring them in the order of the avatar part, because that would be basically the body part, whatever it is that you're setting the color for. It's going to be avatar part, and then I always like to include the ID field, the index, so that they always come up in the same order no matter what happens. Avatar part ID. That will bring that back in a certain order. We get the colors. It loads the colors based on this. Then it loads the avatar animations, load on this, and then we get this piece, which is what gets returned right there. Okay, we're getting through this. Now let's go fix the one that actually needs the help. Update avatar ID. What happens is this one passes the values of your current position, movement, animation you're running, and everything else that you're currently doing. Display name, avatar, file. Actually, this is the update avatar. This is not the right one. I know which one I'm thinking of. Sorry, we need to go to update track, the tracking page. That's the one that's messed up. I haven't been into the multiplayer tracking. This one is the one where we have the problem. I already know it. What we're doing here is we are setting it to what animations are currently running. We give it the current walk speed. We give it our current position and rotation. We're telling it which community we're in, which building. We're tracking all of our information, shoving it through here, and passing it into this tracking table. Once it goes through the tracking table, this is where we're actually getting the values of what needs to be updated on the screen at any one point in time. So as something moves, somebody moves, this is where it will delete them if they're not in there currently in the scene. That shows what community they're in. Notice if we weren't in the same community, we wouldn't be seeing each other. That's the kind of stuff that it updates along the way. Okay, with those pieces in place, now, looking at this, what we have is those values come in, we write them to the tracking, we insert new if it hasn't been there before, and now it deletes from tracking anything that's older than 1 minute, because if somebody just disappears by dropping their avatar off the page or anything like that, then it should delete them off the scene. So like if they close their browser, within 1 minute they disappear from the scene. Okay. The last part here is, wait a minute. This is our select statement, and I have a feeling this is the one that's broken. This is where we're running into a problem. For some reason, when a third person's in here, this one has to be doing something hokey. That's a technical term, hokey. Okay. I want to bring a third person in the scene and then do this SQL statement to see what is all happening here. But first I have to prep the statement. Z position X is actually, it's combining from my position, so I'm just going to say 0. That's doing a distance calculation. Right now I can do 0 from the center of the screen because we're all within reach of it anyway, so that's not going to be a problem. It's actually using the WTW object. Okay, the door doesn't swing open from far away because some avatar has to be detected in its actual distance within that actual action zone. So we can actually trigger them, but that's done in the WTW object if that's the piece you're talking about. The JavaScript code is the WTW object. When I write the parameters, it's WTWJS for JavaScript, but when it actually is running, it's WTW as a runtime. This limitation is just saying, hey, I don't want to see more than 20 people in the scene, so you can set those. The community ID, I want to get from our tracking. This is the community we're going to. So let's put that in here. And finally, our building is blank, which is fine. Oops. And my instance, see, I have to say which instance I am so it doesn't draw me on the screen in addition to the ones that they are. So this one is the instance ID. Okay, we put that here. And for now, I should see one. Oh, there's an error. Oh, WalkTheWeb table. I typed the wrong path. Name of the table is multiplayer. And now I should get something here. Okay, so I'm seeing two people. I shouldn't see my own character, first of all. Or am I bringing back my character? No, I am not. There's no reason to bring back my own character. You know what? I think I'm blocking that after the fact. The reason is I brought back my own character because if you are playing a game, you may need to be on real time so everybody's on the same cycle. If my local player gets one cycle ahead of everybody else that's in the scene, which is how I'm doing the recording normally, then you could actually be a step ahead of them, one cycle ahead of them in your reaction times playing the game. So I want to make sure that everybody's on the same level playing field, and so you may actually see yourself after the fact as you do things, the same cycle that everybody else reacts to it, just to make the game interesting. Like if you were playing soccer, you'd want everybody on the same cycle of response. So I did put that in there to be able to go to that mode at that time. I'm not going to worry about that at this moment because that's not the piece I'm worried about. I'm worried that we're loading and unloading of our character within the scene. And that happens when we do this track moment here and we do the render tracking movement. First of all, am I or am I not? Okay, we're checking for chats. That's fine. Index ID equals that. Okay, so I'm checking to see if it's not my instance right there. Okay, so I'm blocking that. That's being taken care of. Avatar instance state. Let me make sure that isn't. That could be a problem still. I believe that's up here. There it is. Instance state. Am I checking it against my own instance? Multiplayer instance equals instance. What's instance? I'm passing... Oh, to see if they're already in the scene. I did not check to see if it's not my avatar. I'm trying to add my own avatar back into the scene. Let's block that from happening. We'll add this code to here because we're sending the instance, including my own, back to this piece right here. Get instance state. See, I want to find out if... Yeah, we want to make sure that this is also the case because we don't want to bring somebody in. Now, got too many characters there. I don't need the if again. I just needed this piece. I want to make sure that I'm not my own instance before I decide to load it or anything. And I'm only reacting to the ones that aren't mine. And because I was returning them, that's where I was getting this real weird feedback. And from there, now, this one won't bring me an instance state that says, hey, it's not loaded or whatever. It doesn't matter because it's not my user, and we should be fine because this process, which takes it after that, is not including me. What is this piece? This piece is disposing of the person based on their instance is not being found anymore. If it's been updated or not. It disposes it if it's not been updated. We're only going through the multiplayers, and I'm not adding in a multiplayer if it's me. I think I'm good on that one. That's where we're getting rid of it, and it's if it's updated or not. Okay, so we need to make sure that these are being updated. There's two conditions. Updated equals true. I know, I got a few pieces in here. I'm probably not doing the best job of talking this out to you and telling you what I'm actually doing just yet, but here's the deal. The instance state decides what instance they're at right now, if they're already being triggered to be loaded into a scene, or if they're already in the scene and need to be updated their positions. Oh, okay, cool. Cool. Good deal. Yeah, so I can ramble a little bit here. This is actually updating this part. And what's happening is I tell it that it is updated here. Otherwise, it doesn't get updated. Updated is true there. So if they're brand new and they're being loaded, if instance state loaded equals 0, then it does that. Otherwise, it's already loading it, and we're good to go. I want to make sure else. If it's loaded to, otherwise we set it to true, which means it's a 1, which means it's in the process of being loaded. So we're actually good on those. I want to make sure we're not loading anything that we didn't load. I don't want to dispose of something that, okay, if they walk out of distance, then it disposes of them. And then it disposes of them if they no longer exist in the scene. Okay, I think we're in good shape on that piece now. The part that I need to check is this tracking. When there's a third person in this scene, let me refresh my other page here. Close tab and let me get a good refresh on that. Make sure we're getting a good clean start. Then I want to see what we're getting from here. There we go. Now we have 3 people. We have their position, XYZ. We have their rotation. Everything's good on that stuff. We have their different instances, and we have a tracking idea tied to that. We have the user ID set. We have the correct avatars. Everything looks good on this part. Everything looks good, which means there's nothing wrong in this query to cause it to be doing that weird blinking thing. Oh, my scene dropped out. Let's change the file while it was using it, so of course it failed while I was moving things around and saving it. Let's see if it gets past it, or do I have an error in that file now? I didn't check. Yeah, there's an error. Okay, I broke something. Let me fix it. That would explain a couple pieces here. Error log, and which piece did I not get in here? Expecting a close bracket, close variable. There's a variable that's just a $sign. Syntax error. And that's on, which page was that? Get avatar, I broke something on there. Get avatar. Okay, let's go through a few of these and make sure we've got them all here. User ID, avatar IND, that's good. Position, which we have there. Scaling rotation, I know we're good. Object is that one, which we're good there. Tracking ID. No, it'd only be on my end. It would have to be on my server where it was running. So, yeah. So your code change wouldn't have affected mine. Let's say tracking ID. Tracking ID is there. We have that. User ID is coming through from the top of the page. Okay, that's fine. Display name, we are getting that there. Graphics. Graphics, where's that coming from? Graphics is, oh, those 2 settings, no big deal. Collisions, okay. Move time, got that. Z privacy, okay, that's set. Avatar parts, which we have coming from right here. And then we have avatar defs, which are coming from right there. And that's it. Where did I mess up something? Didn't give me a line number or anything. Unexpected. Expecting. Oh, I see what it said. Okay, we're missing a it's not going to be on that part. It's going to be on this part or the other part. Let's see. user ID, those have the ticks around it. That's all fine. User avatar is in. Well, there's another way to tell. Let's remark out some of this and see what we get. If I remark out, where we made the most changes is this section right here. So I'm going to remark out from there to here. And see, oops. Is the error in that section? And it's taking a long time to load that piece. There it goes. Okay, so the error must be in that section because I was able to run everything but that. Let's try this one. I'm tracking it down. And okay, so we're not breaking anything at this point. This is coming in there. And let's see if we broke something in this area. I may have. This might be the section that it's looking at. Okay, and when it starts the tracking is when it drops that line in the code. Welcome. Come on. Is it going to do the tracking part of this code? Load. Okay. Look, everybody's stable now. They're not bouncing on and off the screen. That's a plus. We're getting closer. And finally, the part that I broke is got to be between these two parts here, which means something up here. Let's first check. User avatar colors is correct. I have the tick marks around that, and that's the statement. Here. Oh, wait a minute. There's where I messed up. That belongs out here. I missed it by one line, which totally fudged that array. It's going, why are you trying to add something within the array? Okay, so let's see if that kicks our colors back into place. Loading up the scene. The good news is we now have 3 avatars in the scene, and they're not all jumping around, so... Or are they? Let's see what's happening here. Nope, I broke it again. Okay. I was going to say I didn't think I did anything to fix that piece, but the colors are working because the avatar trying to show up in front of me is a different color. Okay, I still need to study on this piece a bit. We've got some things going on in this section, so I'm going to have to dig in here and try to see. That part's updating correct because everything's updating there, but where it's happening is probably in this sentence here, which is this piece. This should be getting everybody once, but I think what's happening is somehow, wait a minute, that's not the right, oh, that's the wrong one, sorry. I was going to say that's not the right table. This one should be getting everybody once, and it does. And I think what's happening is when it goes through this piece here, yeah, the flashing in and out is the part I'm working on. I'm going to need to investigate this. I have to do a walkthrough on my code and see if I can figure this out. But I know that these are the 3 that it would expect in the array. So this is what I'm bringing back from that query. And then when I get it this far, I need to figure out this tracking piece. What I'm returning here is based on that. We should be good because this is just the tracking def. That's all I'm bringing back is that tracking def. And that is 1 record for each one of us. And in the code, when it receives that code back, it runs this process right here. It parses it, and in here is the options depending on different circumstances that tell it to dispose of and get rid of somebody. I think those are happening when they shouldn't, which means I have to check the values, I have to see what's happening, and try to figure out where something's gone wrong in this section. I'm going to have to, it might be also that I've messed up because I took the chat out of it right now and it's trying to do something with the chat. It may just be something like that, that it's saying, hey, you don't even have this value there and it's crashing. But I'm going to have to track this down. I'm going to take a break. I've been going for about 4 hours here now. So I'm going to take a break and get some lunch, and we'll see what I'm going to do. But since you're following me, you'll know when I'm online, and I will be catching you guys again soon. If I don't catch you again today, I'll be back tomorrow. So have a great day, and you guys take care. But thanks for watching. And if you haven't yet, make sure you follow so that you do know when I'm online. And I'm on almost every day. I try to. So, and yeah. And definitely, I'll catch up with you again soon. Have a good day.